Chapter 36. 100 miles away from Seven Apricot City, a magnificent ship was flying in the sky. Ning Fan was standing on the bow of the ship. The wind was shocking, but he remained motionless. 3 days ago, the old monster took away the 7 apricot records and gave Ning Fan a storage pouch. 3 days later, the old monster kicked Ning Fan out of 7 Apricot City and ordered him to quickly go to the Sinister Sparrow School to complete the so-called entrance exam. 3 days was too rushed. Ning Fan only had enough time to use all kinds of dawn to stabilize his body's injuries. His meridians were damaged, his bones were broken, his face was bruised, and his chest was actually covered in bandages. He didn't have time to refine the Jade Royal Dan before being kicked out by the old monster. Once he left 7 Apricot City, he wouldn't be able to return for many years. Go to the Sinister Sparrow School and help your father say hello to Sinister Sparrow. As for his daughter, whether you want to marry her or not, it is up to you. Once you enter the school, you must be down to earth. Talk less, kill more, and do real work. That is a good evil lord. Bask in the sun more, this way it won't be easy to form an evil heart. Inside the storage pouch, your father left some good things for you. Wait until you get on the 7 Apricot voyage ship before you can open it. The old monster nagged a lot, but there were many words of concern. After half a year together, Ning Fan never thought that he would say goodbye in this way. The 7 Apricot voyage ship was a high-rank magical treasure that could accommodate 10,000 people. When the old monster destroyed sects in the past, he loved to drive this ship with the 3 black demon armies to descend from the sky and attack the righteous sections. This was the earliest example of a blitzkrieg in the Rain Immortal world. The creator was naturally the old monster. This ship had an amazing momentum. Not only was it extremely fast, but it was also equipped with 20 spirit artillery cannons that used immortal jades as energy. One cannon could even injure a gold-core old devil. However, it was very expensive. One cannon cost 2,000 immortal jades. Unless it was a critical moment, Ning Fan was reluctant to use these cannons. Because of the grand formation in his storage pouch to attack the Heavenly Beast School, he used up all the immortal jades, leaving him with less than 50,000 immortal jades. 50,000 immortal jades was enough to build several 7 Apricot cities. Ning Fan was definitely not poor, but compared to the previous few 100,000 immortal jades, it was only a drop in the ocean. The Ice Guards, Sword Guards and Apricot Guards of the 3 Black Devil Divine Guards were taken away by Ning Fan. He took half of the magical treasures from the treasury and gave them to the 3 god armies to upgrade their equipment. Half of the Plum Manor's spiritual herbs were also taken away. 7 Apricot City was still guarded by the 4 great families. Ning Fan was determined not to take it away and leave it for the old monster to protect himself. The old monster had lost his cultivation. Even though not many people knew about it, Ning Fan was not at ease without someone protecting him. There were 400 Apricot Guards, 500 Sword Guards, and 500 Ice Guards. Along the way, the ship's momentum was astonishing. When they passed by some small sects and clans, they would usually scare them as if they were facing a formidable enemy. If Ning Fan wanted to, he could easily annihilate a low-grade sect. However, now that he was severely injured, he did not have the mood to stir up trouble. He took out a black storage pouch. It was a high-grade magical treasure. Its storage space was 100 times more than his previous storage pouch. This storage pouch was given to Ning Fan by the old monster. It was a bit old and seemed to have been used by the old monster in the past. Just this storage pouch alone was a good item. With this storage pouch, Ning Fan no longer needed to worry about not having enough items. His waist was full of different colored storage pouches, all of which were robbed from various places. Those who didn't know him would think that he was an 8-pouch elder from a beggar's sect. There were not many things inside the storage pouch, but when Ning Fan opened it, he felt a bit sour in his heart. The storage pouch was very spacious, but there were only 3 things inside. It was a red copper token with 10 suns engraved on it. The insolent handwriting of the letter was naturally written by the old monster. And a small cauldron. The small cauldron had 6 corners, 8 edges, and 3 legs. It was very familiar. High-grade magical treasure, Dan Fragmentation Cauldron, the old monster's signature magical treasure. He didn't expect the old monster to give his signature magical treasure to Ning Fan. Ning Fan's divine sense swept through the cauldron and found that there were 8 black fire dragons sealed inside. The black demon flame, the old monster who had lost his cultivation, even gave the black demon flame to Ning Fan. Ning Fan sighed in his heart. The old monster's cultivation had recovered, and he should have been able to dominate the world again, but the ups and downs of life, great joy and great sorrow came too fast, catching him off guard. But the old monster could still smile and calmly leave all his good things to Ning Fan. The old monster was very open-minded, disregarding honor and disgrace, but Ning Fan couldn't be so open-minded. Every time he thought of the old monster's cultivation being destroyed by Moksha Emperor, his heart would turn as cold as ice. Moksha Emperor. You will regret it 100 years later. Ning Fan kept the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron. Once his injuries were healed, he would completely devour the black demon flame and cultivate the black demon art. He looked at the token in the storage pouch. It looked ordinary, but with his immortal emperor's eyesight, he could see a trace of world-breaking force from it. Most of the tokens with world-breaking force were the keys to some secret places, but he didn't know where the key to this item was. But Ning Fan firmly believed that the old monster wouldn't give it to him for no reason. There must be a deeper meaning behind it. He kept the token and took out the last thing, the old monster's letter. Little Ning, you and I are master and disciple. I don't have anything good to give you after you leave. I'll give you the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron. When you destroy sects in the future, do your best to smash them. I'll also give you the Black Demon Flame. When you reach the 3rd level of the Black Demon art, you can fuse the 9 fire dragons into one and extract the fire essence from them and refine it into your body. Only then can you be considered to have truly mastered an earth vein demonic flame. 100 years later, you might have a battle with Han Yetian. But 100 years is too short. No matter how heaven-defying your aptitude is, you won't be able to reach the void fragmentation realm. But if you can gather all the heavenly frost cold chi and earth vein demonic flame, even Han Yetian wouldn't dare to provoke you. Even the 9 great immortal emperors of the 9 great immortal domains wouldn't be your match. As for the earth vein demonic flame, you have already obtained the black demon flame and the white bone flame. You just need to find a suitable opportunity to devour them. As for the heavenly frost cold chi, in the secret place of Sinister Sparrow sect, there is one called Profoundine Chi. You can think of a way to steal it. I won't meddle in your business. As for the token, it is called Void Sky Token. It is the key to enter the ancient heavenly court. If there is a chance, when the ruins of the heavenly court opens, you can slip in and fish in troubled waters. After putting away the letter, Ning Fan's eyes revealed a contemplative look. It was as if he wanted to absorb everything that the old monster had told him. Behind him, little Jihe quietly watched with an obedient expression. Her small face was blushing. No one knew what she was thinking. Brother Fan looks so good when he is thinking. He looks like a gentleman. At the same time, in 7 Apricot City, the old monster was wearing a black robe. His hair was white and his magical power was gone, making him look old with a face full of hardships. He went down to 7 Apricot City and entered a secret underground palace. 7 Apricot City was originally not an ice city, but the old monster had turned the northern region of Yu country into a snowy region for one person. The reason? The secret place was 100,000 zhang deep underworld in 7 Apricot City. There was a huge space that was chiseled by a hatchet, 100 li in size. In the secret place, there was a sea of fire. In the center of the sea of fire, there was a flame coffin. In fact, the endless sea of fire at the bottom of this place was formed from the illusion of the coffin. The grade of the coffin was even higher than a void treasure. It was extremely extraordinary and definitely not something from the 9 great immortal worlds. There was a trace of heat circulating above the coffin, enough to easily incinerate a gold core old monster. Faintly, there was a trace of mysterious power on the coffin, enough to block the heavenly Tao. And inside the fire coffin, there was a pure and holy woman who seemed to be sleeping peacefully. This woman was somewhat similar to Dugu, but compared to Dugu's cold demeanor, she had a gentle and affectionate expression. This woman was Dugu's older sister. Her heart had stopped beating and there was not a trace of breath. Even her body was seriously injured and could collapse at any time. If it wasn't for the flame coffin that occasionally emitted a trace of heaven-deceiving force, once this woman's body left the fire coffin, she would certainly turn into ashes and be buried in samsara. And if an immortal god from the upper world was here and saw this fire coffin, they would certainly be shocked. This was because this fire coffin was a pure young world treasure, the heaven evasion coffin. In the past, in order to obtain this coffin, the old devil had once rushed to the pure yang sect in the four heavens immortal world alone. The old devil slowly approached the sea of fire, separated by a distance of 10,000 zhang, and looked at the sleeping woman in the fire coffin in a daze. The waves of fire blew from afar, roasting the old devil's old hair, but he was completely unaware of all of this. Xiao Mei, my cultivation has finally been completely destroyed, it's that evil disciple again. I didn't listen to your advice in the past, and now, I've made one mistake after another, one after another. Little Ning has been driven away by me. He's a talent in devil cultivation. He might be able to avenge me, but I almost died this time, and my desire for revenge has also faded. Now that I think about it, as long as you can come back to life, revenge doesn't matter anymore. When little Ning's cultivation is strong enough, I'll ask him to save you. That day shouldn't be too far away. 7 Apricot City and the entire icy domain were merely created by the old devil's spell. The purpose was just to make the sleeping woman in the sea of fire feel a little cooler. The old devil stood at the edge of the sea of fire, as if his lifetime of killing had been cleansed. Without the old devil and Ning fans, Sea Fan Palace seemed lonely. Or perhaps, without the 3 divine armies, the entire 7 Apricot City felt somewhat empty. Under the apricot tree, a beautiful soul floated out of the grave. The wind and snow became even stronger, and the woman faintly looked at the departing 7 Apricot voyage ship. The ship had turned into the size of an ant and gradually became indistinct. He's gone. Dugu faintly sighed and suddenly turned her head. Her eyes fell on the side of the grave, on the bluestone. In a flash, her pretty face turned crimson with extreme embarrassment. On the bluestone, there was only one nascent soul sword chi left, and the second gold core sword chi was nowhere to be seen. On the bluestone, there was a message left by Ning fans, and it seemed to be filled with a teasing tone. Beauty has gold core sword chi, leaving an empty bluestone with no one to appreciate it, isn't it a pity? Ning Fan treads on the snow to come, riding the moon to take away the sword chi. If he reaches nascent soul in the future, he will definitely return to take the third sword. Signed, Young Noble Ning treads on the moon. Little Demon Ning, you are a scoundrel, you are a big liar. You said you won't steal the sword chi. I'm so angry, give me back my sword chi. In the Sea Fan Palace, little Dugu clenched her fists and stomped her feet in anger. Humph, the next time little Demon Ning comes back, I must teach him a lesson, but, when will he come back? Will it be long? The ship traveled for half a day. Ning Fan opened up a jade map with Nangong, Yuchi, and Situ beside him. Of course, there was also the well-behaved Jiha and the restless Si Wuxie. Ning Fan unconsciously sneezed. He rubbed his nose and casually put a jade scabbard into his storage pouch. On the scabbard, there was a gold core sword chi stolen from Dugu Qingshi. He couldn't comprehend it in a short time, so he will comprehend it in the future. Could it be that little Dugu is scolding me? Ning Fan laughed and shook his head. There shouldn't be such a coincidence. Master, in another 10,000 li is Sinister Sparrow School. Cici wants to go down and play. Si Wuxie softly begged, interrupting Ning Fan's laughter. No. Ning Fan's eyes regained their coldness as he looked at the map again. This indifferent action made Si Wuxie angry, and the 3 commanders of the Mei clan had a strange expression on their faces. This naive and loveless little girl was really the infamous Heaven Separation Sect Lord, Si Wuxie. Young Lord could still be so cold in front of such a cute little girl. 10,000 li, we are almost at Sinister Sparrow School. Nan Gong, wait until we reach Sinister Sparrow School, you will lead the 3 guards to this mountain range. If necessary, there is no harm in building a city, Ning Fan said after a long time. This subordinate understands. This mountain range is not far from the main sect, only a few hundred li. When I have time, I will come and urge you to train. The day of the 3 divine armies' resurgence is not far away. Ning Fan's eyes lit up. Training the 3 divine armies, stealing mysterious Yin Qi, expanding his forces, and increasing his cultivation. This was the first time he embarked on his evil path. Everything was for the sake of ruthlessly trampling the high and mighty Moksha Emperor under his feet 100 years later, making this wolf pay the price. The Sinister Sparrow School was very close. Because of the entrance examination of Sinister Sparrow School, the ground was bustling with cultivators, bringing their juniors to Sinister Sparrow School. As for those vain opening cultivators, when they looked up and saw the magnificent ship in the sky, they were all dumbfounded. Chapter 37. 300 miles away from the dark Sparrow Valley, there was a maple forest that stretched for hundreds of miles. It was called Maple Forest. It seemed to be an abandoned forest garden of a cultivator family, but now, it was barren and uninhabited. There were still 3 days left until the disciple recruitment ceremony of Sinister Sparrow Sect. In the sky above the desolate maple forest, a splendid 10,000 zhanglong fortress ship suddenly appeared. On the ship, 3 harmonious spirit experts were flying in the sky. One was casting an ice magical technique, one was controlling a purple demonic pet, and the last one was wearing a monastic robe and holding a sword. They attacked one after another, cutting down the forest. In just half an hour, the forest was razed to the ground by the 3 of them. Occasionally, the experts that passed by would think that it was a golden core realm old monster traveling when they saw the 3,000 zhanglong ship and the eerie glow of treasures, so they all avoided it, not daring to spy on it. It seemed that the mysterious gold core old monster wanted to build a city in this barren mountain. The only thing that puzzled them was why would a gold core expert like this maple forest? This place had no mountains, no water, and no spiritual qi. It was too wasteful to build a city here. The ship landed on the ground. 1,400 evil cultivators came down from the ship as if they had received an order to build houses with the wood on the ground. Then, a young man and 2 women came down from the ship. The young man pointed his finger and the 1,000 zhang ship turned into a palm-sized golden ship and was kept into his storage pouch. The young man's face was pale and his injuries were severe. But he forced himself to control the construction and layout of the houses. From time to time, he would use immortal jades, immortal ores, and divine sense to connect with the heaven and earth to set up a grand formation. The physical strength of cultivators far surpassed that of mortals. Under the guidance of the young man, it only took half a day for the 1,400 devil cultivators to build 2,000 wooden houses. The houses were arranged in a circular shape, which was in line with the formation. They were surrounded by a wall that was 30 feet tall, and there was only one gate. The young man used 50,000 immortal jades and countless rare immortal ores to set up a core realm defensive formation around the city wall. With this formation, even gold core old monsters wouldn't dare to come here. But the young man frowned, still not satisfied. The wooden houses and stone city can only defend against beasts. If it is attacked by cultivators, it will certainly collapse. Moreover, this is a barren mountain with thin spiritual qi, which is disadvantageous to the cultivation of the 3 god armies. Fine, I'll let the 3 god armies stay here for the time being. In the future, I'll get some immortal minds and spiritual veins to transform the environment and rebuild the city. The young man was none other than Ning Fan, who had come from afar. Arriving at the western region of the Yu Kingdom, far from 7 Apricot City, the first task was to establish a base of operations. A city of 3 miles and a city of 7 miles was barely livable. On top of the city gate, Situ's sword chi trembled and wrote the two words Ning City. Ning City meant the city of Ning fans. Ning Fan had little interest in joining the sinister Sparrow sect. If it wasn't because he wanted to repay the old monster's favor, if it wasn't because he wanted to steal some mysterious Yin Chi, he wouldn't have been willing to join the sinister Sparrow sect even if his so-called fiancé was here. 2,000 houses and a 7-kilometer city. The scale was pitifully small, and the materials used to build the city were extremely ordinary. 7 Apricot City was built with profound ice, and its defense was astonishing. The Heaven Separation School was built with jades and had an oppressive spirit energy. Ning City, if a master architect were to see this city, he would laugh incessantly. Ning City, other than a passable defensive formation, the materials used could be described as simple and crude. There was nothing remarkable about it. Cece, you open the underground fire vein, I want to open a Dan refinement room in the city. While everyone was busy, Ning Fan ordered Si Wuxiat to open the earth vein in order to use the earth fire to refine Dawn. What he was refining was naturally the Jade Royal Dan. He didn't think that once the earth vein was opened, it would cause a small trouble that was negligible. In one day, a new Ning City was added to the Western Yu Kingdom. However, during this period of time, the Yu Kingdom's evil sects were holding their disciple recruitment ceremonies, so no one paid attention to Ning City. The only one that was hostile to Ning City was the Western Yu Kingdom's cultivation clan, the Lu clan. The Lu clan's patriarch, Lu Nanzi, was a peak harmonious spirit expert, only one step away from forming a gold core. He was also proficient in the body refinement technique and was quite famous in the Yu Kingdom. The location that Ning Fan chose to build Ning City, the Maple Forest, was actually an abandoned forest garden of the Lu clan. Decades ago, the maple forest was rich in a type of fire maple fruit. This fruit could refine one's body and was quite expensive, bringing endless benefits to the Lu clan. Later, due to the change of the terrain, the fire vein was blocked, and the trees stopped growing. The maple forest was also abandoned by the Lu clan. A group of evil cultivators occupied the maple forest and built Ning City. This news was impossible for Lu Nanzi to not know, but he didn't pay attention to it in the beginning. It was just an abandoned forest garden. If it was lost, then so be it. There was nothing to fuss about. But the next news made Lu Nanzi unable to stay calm, his eyes were burning with excitement. The fire vein at the bottom of the maple forest was opened by someone with great magical power. The fire vein is opened, doesn't that mean that the fire maple fruit can grow again? Lu Nanzi was pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, he was cursing in his heart. That year, when the fire vein was blocked in the maple forest, he couldn't open it even with his peak harmonious spirit magical power. Today, a group of evil cultivators built a broken city and accidentally opened the fire vein. This group of evil cultivators was really lucky. But now that the fire vein was opened, this maple forest couldn't be given to this group of evil cultivators to build a city. He stroked his beard, his eyes lit up, and looked at the old servant beside him. Lu Ming, who is the person who occupied the maple forest? What is his cultivation, origin, and background? Reporting to Patriarch, this old servant has sent people to investigate. The so-called Ning City is called a city, but in fact, it is very simple and inconspicuous. This Ning City shouldn't have any background, perhaps it is a new force. A new force? This is also possible. And, let me think. Ning City. I think the lord of this city is surnamed Ning. There doesn't seem to be a force with the surname Ning in Yu country. How about this, you bring the Southern House battle guards to drive this group of evil cultivators out of the boundary of the maple forest. Don't kill them if you can. Of course, if they are stubborn, you don't have to be merciful. What? Master wants this old servant to bring the Southern House battle guards. The old servant named Lu Ming revealed a shocked expression. In the cultivation world, generally, a big force would use their experts to form a battle guard using a formation. For example, the old devil had 3 battle guards, the ice guards, the apricot guards, and the sword guards. And the Yu country's Lu family had a 500-man Southern House Battle Guards, ranked 17th in the Yu country's battle guard list. Even the battle guards of some big sects were not as powerful as the Lu family. The Southern House Battle Guards had a cultivation of 4th level vein opening and above. These 500 men were well trained. If they were sent out, they could probably destroy a small family. Lu Ming couldn't understand why the Patriarch would use the Southern House Battle Guards to deal with a new force. Isn't this like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? Isn't the Patriarch being a little too cautious? He swallowed his saliva and whispered, "Patriarch, don't send the Southern House Battle Guards. This old servant alone, a dignified early harmonious spirit expert, is more than enough to destroy a small city. Lu Ming, you are good at everything except for one shortcoming, you are too arrogant. Remember, no matter how weak the enemy is, you must go all out. Like an eagle pouncing on a rabbit, spare no effort." This sentence, remember it well. Go after Lu Nanzi finished, he closed his eyes and no longer spoke. And Lu Ming didn't dare to disobey Lu Nanzi's order. He went out and gathered 500 Southern House Battle Guards. Under the cover of the night, they rushed towards Ning City. 500 Southern House Battle Guards, each of them was at 4th level vein opening. They were riding strange beasts with an imposing manner. Along the way, when the cultivators saw the Southern House Battle Guards of the Western Yulu family coming out in full force, they hurriedly ran away in surprise. The Lu family sent out the Southern House Battle Guards again. This time, which evil sect are they going to destroy? Look, the early harmonious spirit commander Lu Ming personally leading the army. TSK, to be able to see the glory of a harmonious spirit senior, this life is not in vain. Along the way, there were occasional discussions between cultivators. Mixed with the sound of horse hooves, it entered Lu Ming's ears, making him even more impatient. The Patriarch is making a mountain out of a molehill. To destroy a small Ning city, he actually sent out the Southern House Battle Guards. 2 hours later, the Southern House Battle Guards had traveled a few hundred li. In the distance, an inconspicuous small city appeared. Lu Ming was, after all, a harmonious spirit expert. With his experience, he could naturally see that the building materials used in this so-called peace city were just ordinary stones and wood, not worth mentioning, so he disdained it. He waved his hand. 10 li away from Ning City, the Southern House Battle Guards stopped their horses. Then, his divine sense moved. Under the waning moon, an arrogant voice resounded throughout the entire Ning City. This old man is Lu Ming, the commander of the Southern House Battle Guards of the Lu family. I have come to reclaim Ning City. Lord of Ning City, this old man will give you 10 breaths of time to come out and see me. If you surrender, this old man can spare your life. Lu Ming squinted his old eyes. Sitting on the unicorn, he had the bearing of a senior. The corner of his mouth curled into a sneer. His early harmonious spirit divine sense didn't scare the evil cultivators of Ning City, right? The evil cultivators living in this dilapidated Ning City must be country bumpkins. How could they have seen a harmonious spirit expert before? He was sneering in disdain. Suddenly, his smile froze on his face. His old eyes widened in disbelief. Because of excessive fear, the muscles on his old face cramped. His face became distorted, making him look ridiculous. He couldn't even speak clearly. 3 harmonious spirit experts. 2 intermediate. 1 late. And, so many, men, under the moonlight, Nangong, Situ, and Yuchi stood in the sky. Their harmonious spirit chi was released arrogantly. Each of them had a murderous look on their faces. And the 1,400 evil cultivators, in just a few breaths, rushed out of Ning City like a tidal wave. Then, they quickly arranged themselves into 3 large formations. Yin and Yang Chaotic Apricot Formation, 3 Talent Killing Sword Formation, and 4 Ice Emperor Formation. 1,400 people. The lowest cultivation was 5th level vein opening. The killing intent that these 1,400 people had been hiding for 40 years was released on this night. What kind of bullshit is this? How dare you disturb our young noble Ning's dream in the middle of the night? You don't want to live anymore. Yuchi's face was flushed. He was holding the little purple pig and laughing. His intermediate harmonious spirit magical power rolled out. Commander Lu Ming coughed out blood and fell off his horse. He was terrified to death. Young noble Ning. Who is young noble Ning? To be able to command 3 tyrannical battle guards and have 3 harmonious spirit experts as his subordinates, this young noble Ning was not a nobody in Yu country. It's over. This time, our Lu family has kicked a big iron plate kill. This father's broadsword is already thirsting for blood. Yuchi took the lead and the 3 black demon armies immediately surrounded the Southern House battle guards. It was a one-sided battle. Half an hour later, 300 of the Southern House battle guards were dead and 200 were captured. Commander Lu Ming was beaten half to death by Yuchi and was captured. Outside of Ning City, there was a commotion. Inside the newly opened alchemy room, Ning Fan's spirit sense swept through the room. He smiled. The situation outside had already entered his eyes. Not bad, it seems like I don't need to do anything. The 3 black demon armies trained by Master are really extraordinary. He recollected his thoughts and concentrated on alchemy. The ground in front of him had a 3-zhang fire pit. The earth fire was drawn out from the ground. Above the fire pit was the Dan fragmentation cauldron. The 8 fire dragons were sealed inside the yin-yang locket. At this moment, the cauldron was refining the Jade Royal Dan. The Jade Royal Dan was not complicated to concoct. It was only a 4th revolution Dan, but its ingredients were extremely rare. The supplementary ingredients were fine, but the 2 most important ingredients were Jade Royal Grass and Coiling Evil Grass. These 2 grasses were known to be hard to find by immortal emperors. The Jade Royal Dan concocted with these grasses had the heaven-defying effect of cleansing the marrow. It could improve one's cultivation physique and increase the strength of the body. Rumor has it that after consuming the Jade Royal Dan, one could finally cultivate a transcendent immortal body. At that time, even an immemorial divine weapon would not be able to break the defense of the body. It could be called immortal. However, the ingredients for this Jade Royal Dan were hard to find. Moreover, there was a harsh condition for consuming it. One had to be seriously injured. The so-called reconstruction after destruction. Without destruction, there would be no reconstruction. If you don't shatter your bones and break your meridians, how can you truly reshape your body and cleanse the marrow? Just removing the impurities from the body was not enough. Even after removing the impurities from the cotton, could it still turn into steel? Ning Fan's body had been malnourished since he was young. His physique was weak, and now he was seriously injured, with broken bones and damaged meridians. This body could not be any more broken. And this was the perfect time to take the Jade Royal Dan. In the Dan fragmentation cauldron, a wisp of pill fragrance came out. Outside the cauldron, there was a spiritual fluctuation. There was still half a day before the Jade Royal Dan would be completed. The sky gradually brightened. 500 miles away, the Lu family was in a mess. Lu Nanzi had a comfortable sleep, but when he woke up, Lu Ming and the Southern House battle guards had not returned. Strange, mobilizing the 17th ranked battle guard in Yu countries to destroy a small new city. Why did it take so long? Not even one night was enough. Could it be that there's been some sort of accident? How could it be? Lu Ming's temper is a bit wild, but he is still a harmonious spirit expert. With the Southern House battle guards formation, even a gold core old monster would have to retreat. And, this old man is thinking too much. Perhaps Lu Ming had some matters on the way and was delayed. He will be back in a while. He waited and waited until noon, but Lu Ming still had not returned. Lu Nanzi's eyelids kept twitching, and his heart was faintly uneasy. He took out a jade talisman. This talisman was called the sound-transmitting talisman. It was divided into a main talisman and a sub-talisman. As long as the talisman was within 1,000 miles, the person holding it could communicate. Making a hand seal, Lu Nanzi cleared his throat and smilingly scolded the talisman. Lu Ming, come back quickly. How long do you want to spend to destroy a Ning city? There was no reply from the other side of the talisman. Lu Ming. Answer me. There was no reply. Not good, could it be that something happened? Lu Nanzi was shocked. Lu Ming was a harmonious spirit expert, leading the Southern House battle guards out. How could something happen? What could happen? But if nothing happened to Lu Ming, how could he not respond when he called him? While Lu Nanzi was still in shock, a feminine man's voice came from the other side of the talisman. Even through the talisman, Lu Nanzi felt a chill in his soul. Such a profound ice spirit force cultivation. My name is Nan Gong, your people are in my hands. Hee, if you want to ransom them, come to Ning City and discuss the conditions. On this day, in the cultivation world of Yu countries, there was a shocking kidnapping and extortion case. And Ning City, for the first time, entered the sight of an expert. Chapter 38. He, who was a peak harmonious spirit expert, slumped on the chair with a dull look. Captured Lu Ming, a harmonious spirit expert, and the 500 Southern House battle guards were completely annihilated. These are my battle guards that I have trained for decades. He smashed the tea table beside him with his palm, but it didn't ease the anger in his heart. According to Nan Gong, who was on the other side of the jade talisman, his master was the lord of Ning City, young noble Ning. Young noble Ning in Yu country had such a person. What was this person's cultivation? What was his background? How could he capture 200 Southern House battle guards without batting an eyelid? What made Lu Nanzi in disbelief was not the 300 dead battle guards, but the 200 captured battle guards. These battle guards were adopted by Lu Nanzi since they were young and trained all the way until now. Their cultivation may not be very high, but the combined attack of a formation was terrifying. Moreover, Lu Nanzi instilled a belief in them since they were young. Die in battle, never surrender. The Southern House battle guards were death warriors. That so-called young noble Ning could capture 200 battle guards alive without giving them the chance to commit suicide. This was much more difficult than killing 200 people. The 200 battle guards and Lu Ming must be rescued. Without this force, the Lu family's strength had shrunk by half. But Lu Nanzi was not prepared to comply with Nangong's threat and ransom them with money. No matter what, he was a peak harmonious spirit expert, a half-step gold core expert. Ransoming them was simply a loss of face. Humph. Go find a few friends if there is a chance, I will flatten Ning City. His eyes flashed with a trace of darkness. He summoned a 3-mark immortal cloud and flew away. 3-mark immortal cloud. Lu Nanzi's flying speed was almost comparable to an early gold core expert. A day later, he had traveled more than half of Yu country and invited 3 friends. 2 peak harmonious spirit experts and 1 early gold core expert. He, Lu Nanzi, was not a fool. Since that young noble Ning could easily capture 200 battle guards, he must be very powerful. But no matter how powerful he was, Lu Nanzi did not believe that the other party was a gold core old monster. After all, a gold core old monster would not be interested in a remote place like that to build a city. The other party was not a gold core old monster, but he had invited a real gold core expert. It was more than enough to destroy Ning City. 2 peak harmonious spirit experts, one surnamed Xu and the other surnamed Shen. As for that early gold core realm old monster, his name was Nanyang Zi. He could be considered a senior expert who had established a sect in the state of Yu. As Nanyang Zi listened to Lu Nanzi's narration, he pondered for a moment, his long eyebrows knitted together. The Southern House battle guards have been annihilated, Lu Ming, that little guy, has also been captured. Nanyang Zi, a gold core realm old monster, had a slight friendship with Lu Ming's father. This was also the reason why he decided to help Lu Nanzi. The 4 experts rode on the clouds and arrived above Ning City a few hours later. Lu Nanzi looked down at Ning Cheng, the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. With a single glance, he could see that Ning City was in shambles. Originally, he still had a trace of caution, but at this moment, it all turned into contempt. A wooden house and a stone city. How could the city lord, young Master Ning, be an expert living in such a shabby city? On the other hand, not only was he a peak harmonious spirit expert, but he had also invited 2 peak harmonious spirit experts and an early gold core expert. Lu Nanzi smiled proudly. Whether it was the mortal world or the cultivation world, having many friends and connections was the truth. The more profound an old monster's cultivation, the more they liked to visit friends and discuss the Tao, making friends all over the world. While Lu Nanzi was sizing up Ning City, the other 3 old monsters were also sizing up Ning City. Old Monster Chen and Old Monster Zhu had the same expression as Lu Nanzi. When they saw the shabby Ning City, they revealed a sneer. Only the gold core realm Nanyang Zi's divine sense swept across Ning City. He was startled at first, then revealed a pondering expression, then disbelief, and finally, a deep shock emerged on his face. This is a core-level grand formation. A core-level grand formation was enough to kill a gold core old monster. In the entire Yu country, only the Great Void sect, Heavenly Beast sect and other sects had the qualifications to set up a core-level grand formation. Even the Sinister Sparrow sect only had a spirit-level grand formation, which could only defend against harmonious spirit experts. A mere Ning City, a shabby city that was built in a day, actually had a core-level grand formation. What was the origin of this young Master Ning of Ning City? Among the 4 old monsters, 3 of them were looking down on Ning City, and the one with the highest cultivation, Nanyang Zi, had already regarded young Master Ning, who he had never met before, as someone that he could not afford to provoke. Before Nanyang Zi could explain to Lu Nanzi and the others about the terror of the city's grand formation, 1,400 evil cultivators suddenly rushed out of Ning City like a tidal wave. Each of them had a cultivation of 5th level vein opening and above. 3 groups of evil cultivators formed 3 grand formations outside the city. The murderous aura that soared to the sky shocked Nanyang Zi once again. Ning City actually had 3 groups of battle guards, and each of them was not weaker than the Southern House battle guards. How was this possible? 1 battle guard was enough to resist a gold core expert. 3 battle guards, even if the 4 of them attacked together, they still might not be able to win. Nanyang Zi faintly felt that it was a wrong decision to follow Lu Nanzi to Ning City for revenge. Just as this thought rose in his mind, 3 figures stepped into the sky. One was a feminine man, one was a black towering man, and one was as cold as a sword. 3 people, 2 intermediate harmonious spirit and 1 late harmonious spirit. Lu Nanzi, the old man surnamed Chen and Zhu were all peak harmonious spirit experts. They didn't put the 3 commanders in their eyes. But Nanyang Zi, with his gold core eyesight, could see that the 3 of them were extraordinary. Nangong had changed into a purple robe. His long hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were feminine and cold. His cold eyes didn't feel anything in Lu Nanzi's eyes, but in Nanyang Zi's eyes, it made his soul shiver. That cold eyes seemed to be able to penetrate his spirit sense. Yuchi was 2 zhang tall, like an iron tower, and his face was glowing red. His cultivation wasn't high, only intermediate harmonious spirit, but the little pig in his arms gave Nanyang Zi a vague feeling that this person could break through to the gold core realm in less than 10 years. And Situ gave Nanyang Zi a deep impression. He was wearing a monastic robe, neither a monk nor a Taoist. He carried a sword on his back, and his sword intent was shocking. His cultivation was obviously only late harmonious spirit, but his sword intent gave Nanyang Zi an illusion that if this person was really angry, even he might not be able to block this person's sword light. I can't imagine that the water in Ning City is so deep. If it wasn't for his face, Nanyang Zi would have immediately turned and left. He had lived for hundreds of years, and his eyesight had improved. He knew that some people must never be offended. Unfortunately, Lu Nanzi and the other 2 didn't have Nanyang Zi's eyesight, and all of them looked arrogant. In 3 breaths, make your city lord come out. Old man Chen humphed coldly and took the initiative to speak. So what if there were 3 harmonious spirit experts? Without a peak harmonious spirit expert, they couldn't cause any trouble to them. So what if there were 3 battle guards? Vein opening juniors couldn't fly in the sky, so how could they hit them? The so-called young noble Ning seemed to have a great reputation, but in fact, it was just an undeserved reputation. Lu Nanzi and the other 2 had the same thought. They had almost decided to annihilate Ning City today. The extortion failed. In that case, let's just kill them all. Nangong sneered. Even if the opponent was a gold core expert, he wasn't afraid. His true strength was above Situ, and he was Situ's big brother. A battle was about to break out, but at this moment, the spiritual energy in the sky above Ning City suddenly became chaotic. Half of the sky was dyed with jade-colored clouds, and the other half was dyed with dark golden clouds. When the 2 colors of clouds intertwined, a vast spiritual vortex appeared in the sky. Clouds appeared in the sky, and the spiritual vortex. Without a doubt, this was the formation of a 4th revolution Dan. This time, it wasn't just Nanyang Zi who was shocked, even Lu Nanzi, Old Man Chen and Old Man Zhu were shocked. There was actually a 4th revolution Dan master in Ning City. A 4th revolution Dan master, an expert that even nascent soul old monsters had to treat as a distinguished guest. Not only Nanyang Zi and the others were shocked, but even Nangong and the others were astonished. They only knew that Ning Fan was in seclusion, but they didn't know that he was concocting a 4th revolution Dan. The eyes of the 3 commanders were filled with fiery passion. If their young lord became a 4th revolution Dan master, even if his cultivation base was still at the intermediate harmonious spirit realm, his appeal would become extremely terrifying. Even the great void sect master wouldn't dare to offend him. In the next moment, the spiritual vortex shattered, and a wisp of pill fragrance soared to the sky. At the same time when the Dan was formed, heavenly lightning that was half golden and half black struck down. Under the heavenly lightning, even Nanyang Zi felt a chill in his heart. The 4th revolution heavenly tribulation could easily kill an ordinary gold core expert. Young lord, can you withstand the heavenly tribulation? Nangong and the others were slightly worried. In the concoction room, Ning Fan patted the lid of the Dan fragmentation cauldron, and with a flick of his sleeve, a few half-golden and half-black pills were caught in his palm and kept into a pill bottle. His spirit sense swept across and sensed the invading enemies in the sky above Ning City. His eyes turned cold. Cece, go and block the heavenly tribulation, none of the invaders are allowed to escape. Ning Fan ordered outside the door. He sat cross-legged and breathed out a mouthful of turbid qi. After pondering for a long time, he swallowed a jade royal Dan and kept the other pills temporarily. As the pill entered his throat, it was slowly refined. Ning Fan's injuries healed at an astonishing speed. The injuries in his meridians were healed in an instant. His shattered bones were restored in an instant. Even the hidden injuries from many years ago were healed one by one. Not only that, Ning Fan's physique was obviously a little stronger than before, and was no longer weak. But before he could rejoice, a sudden sharp pain struck him, almost causing him to faint. His meridians were broken. All the bones in his body were shattered. But the strange thing was that as the medicinal energy was being refined, Ning Fan's meridians and bones were once again healed and became tougher. But in the next moment, his meridians were broken again and again, his meridians were broken, and his bones were shattered. Ning Fan's body was being reborn from the cocoon during this process. This was the Jade Royal Dan, the domineering Jade Royal Dan. This Dan was enough to rewrite one's physique, allowing a mortal to possess a transcendent immortal physique that was envied by immortals and devils, but at the same time, one had to pay a huge price. When a butterfly broke out of the cocoon, the moment it broke out from the cocoon, the pain was as if a layer of skin had been torn off. Many butterflies died from the pain the moment they broke out of the cocoon. More than 90% of those who took the Jade Royal Dan died from the pain during the process of breaking out, including devils and devils. The indestructible physique of devils could defend against all attacks, but it could not block pain. To block pain, what was needed was not magical power, but a strong heart. Endure, or else, you will die. Ning Fan's lips were pale from the pain, but he gritted his teeth and persevered. Under the pain, Ning Fan's bones gradually emitted a silver light, like the stars. This was called the silver bone realm among the body refinement cultivators. It was the body refinement realm that countless gold core body refinement cultivators yearned for. Chapter 39. Amidst the pain, the first Jade Royal Dan was finally completely refined. Ning Fan let out a low roar as his skin suddenly emitted a faint silver light. Below his bones, there was even a touch of silver. The silver light was extremely faint. The distance to the silver bone realm was still far, but now, Ning Fan's body had reached a horrifying level. His robe was soaked in sweat. Using his magical power, Ning Fan dried his robe and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His skin was fairer than before, without a trace of impurities. Breaking and rebuilding, this was the true cleansing of the meridians and marrow. He patted his storage pouch and took out a low mid-rank long sword. He slashed at his arm. The place where he was slashed was wrapped in a silver light, emitting a metallic sound. It was slightly numb, but only a red mark was left on his arm. One Jade Royal Dan allowed Ning Fan to use his body to block a flying sword. His eyes lit up. He waved his palm and took out the second Jade Royal Dan. The pain from before was not worth mentioning. A single Jade Royal pill could allow his body to withstand the attack of a low-grade flying sword. If he refined 2 Jade Royal pills, how strong would his body be? Ning Fan revealed an expectant expression and swallowed the second Jade Royal Dan. In his opinion, his yin-yang evil vein had a heaven-defying effect on devouring dawn. Taking 2 Jade Royal Dawn in a row should be fine. But once the Dan entered his mouth, his expression immediately changed. He realized that he had underestimated the overbearing power of the Jade Royal Dan. This action made him regret it. The pain of refining the second Jade Royal pill was actually 100 times more painful than the first pill. In a flash, his meridians were destroyed, and the 100 times pain made him spurt out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of shock. He immediately understood one thing. In the cultivation world, there were some dawn with heaven-defying effects, but these dawn generally had a side effect. After taking one, there would be a gap of several years or even dozens of years before the second one could be taken. If forcefully taken, there would be extreme side effects. This 100 times pain was most likely the side effect of the Jade Royal Dan. Ning Fan smiled wryly. The inherited memories of ancient chaos did not mention the side effects of the Jade Royal Dan. The reason was because even ancient chaos great emperor had never taken the Jade Royal Dan that was hard to find for immortal emperors. He didn't know if the Jade Royal Dan could be taken continuously. And from the looks of it, the Jade Royal pill obviously couldn't be taken consecutively. He had been too careless. Everything had been going smoothly for him all this while. Ning Fan had already lost the cautiousness he had when he was a weakling. He was deeply vigilant, but the most important thing right now was to suppress the pain in his body. After refining the second Jade Royal pill, his fleshly body would reach an even more terrifying realm. However, the prerequisite was that he could endure the pain. He had to think of a way to suppress the pain. Otherwise, once the medicinal energy completely dissolved, the pain would be 100 times more intense. Even god fiends might not be able to endure it, let alone him. If the dignified successor of ancient chaos were to die from the pain of a pill, that would be too shameful. While Ning Fan's thoughts were running through his mind, the yin-yang locket transmitted a cool feeling while the blood lines on the green jade locket lit up with a bright red light. At this critical moment, the yin-yang locket that was linked to Ning Fan's life instinctively wanted to protect its master. The cooling sensation slightly suppressed the pain, but the effect was negligible. The instinctive action of the yin-yang locket did not seem to be able to alleviate Ning Fan's pain. However, Ning Fan discovered one thing. The comfort of the body could alleviate the pain. This cooling comfort might not be enough to suppress the brutal pain from the jade royal pill, but if it was something else, could it do the same? The most comfortable things in life were nothing more than two things. One was to break through realms, and the other was dual cultivation. Breaking through realms was impossible in a short period of time, but dual cultivation. He did not know if this action could suppress the pain. Almost immediately, Ning Fan stepped on an icy rainbow and flew out of the Dan refinement room, heading straight to Jihe's bedroom. He could only think of Jihe, his only wife at the moment. Perhaps he could dual cultivate with Si Wuxie, but he had some fear in his heart. Dual cultivation with the yin-yang locket had an advantage. It allowed him to increase his cultivation with his beloved woman, but this also seemed to be a disadvantage. If Ning Fan's dual cultivation with Si Wuxie, the result would be Ning Fan's cultivation increase, and Si Wuxie's cultivation would also increase. Before Si Wuxie was captured, she was a false nascent cultivator. Once she dual cultivated with the yin-yang locket, she would have a high chance of breaking through to the nascent soul realm. But after that, it was unknown whether his spirit puppet technique could control Si Wuxie. If he was able to refine the cauldron ring and had thousands of women as cauldrons, then there would be no need to worry. Little Jihe had just gotten up when she was woken up by the lightning tribulation in the sky. She rubbed her eyes, still in a daze, but then she saw Ning Fan's icy rainbow flash and appear in her room. Big Brother Fan, what happened? Did someone come to cause trouble again? And, don't worry. Compared to them, your Big Brother Fan is in more danger right now. Ning Fan wryly smiled. This was not the time to explain. He pounced on little Jihe. The pain in his body slowly calmed down under a wonderful touch. However, the crisis was far from over. Under the intense pain, Ning Fan found that the yin-yang locket continued to flicker with a strange red light. The blood lines on the green jade lit up with a red light. The original effect of the yin-yang locket was to increase the cultivation of both the man and the woman, but at this moment, it became a robbery. His pain was suppressed, and his magical power was increasing, but Jihe's cultivation was falling. Ning Fan could feel that with his actions, one of the vein-opening immortal veins in little Jihe's body was broken. This was a sign that her cultivation was falling. A pained expression appeared on her face. He was not using dual cultivation to suppress the pain, he was clearly plucking yin to replenish yang, transferring the pain to Jihe's body, and taking away her cultivation. The yin-yang locket instinctively protected its master and accidentally activated the first-level magical treasure ability of the yin-yang transformation, plucking and seizing. The yin-yang locket's effect was to assist a man and a woman in dual cultivation, and at the same time improve their cultivation. But if the host activated the first level of plucking and seizing, he could seize the woman's cultivation and use it for himself. He was actually plucking Jihe. Pulling his body out from Jihe's muddy body, Ning Fan felt as if a knife was twisting in his heart. Jihe was his wife, not a cauldron. He could dual cultivate with her, but for the rest of his life, he would never pluck her. The only thing he would pluck was a cauldron. And he, for the rest of his life, would never fall in love with a cauldron. Should I pluck Si Wuxie? Ning Fan suddenly sat up with a monstrous evil aura in his eyes. But immediately after, he gritted his teeth and felt a trace of reluctance in his heart. Si Wuxie, who had her memories erased, had reverted to a blank slate. She was extremely reliant on Ning Fan, completely different from her past self. If it was the ruthless Si Wuxie from before, Ning Fan would not show any mercy. But the current Si Wuxie, could she be the same person as before? He couldn't do anything to her. What should I do? Who else can I pluck? His heart was hesitating. He could not pluck Jihe, he was not willing to pluck Si Wuxie, who else could he pluck? An intense pain that could drown everything shattered all of his thoughts. There was no time. At this time, the roof suddenly rumbled, and a heavy object fell to the ground. It was a green jade coffin. The lid of the ancient green jade coffin fell open, revealing the corpse of a woman lying inside. She seemed to be breathing weakly, but at the same time, she seemed to have been dead for countless years. Her face was deathly pale and extremely beautiful, like a figure from a painting. What she was wearing was actually the clothes of an ancient fairy from the heavenly court. Where did the female corpse come from? Who was this female corpse? Ning Fan's mind went blank, but soon, there was only one thought in his mind. Could it be that the heavens bestowed a female corpse for me to pluck? Plucking female corpses was better than plucking paper cranes. Above the vault of heaven, under the boundless lightning, Si Wuxia's sleeves fluttered, shattering the heavenly lightning with a single wave. With a few waves of her sleeves, the sky full of lightning tribulation was dispersed. This scene was indescribable in the eyes of Nanyang Zi and the other three. If the three black demon divine armies made Nanyang Zi fearful, then this late gold core aura made him fearful. As for Lu Nanzi, he was scared out of his wits because he saw Si Wuxia shattering the heavenly lightning tribulation and walking towards the four of them with light steps. In an instant, Lu Nanzi, Nan Yangzi, and Chen Zhu all understood one thing. Coming to Ning City to seek revenge was the stupidest thing they had ever done in their entire lives. Ning City Lord, young noble Ning, who was this person? How could he have a late gold core helper? Split up and run. The four of them ran in 4 different directions, but they were blocked by 4 different people. Lu Nanzi and the other 2 were blocked by the 3 commanders. After a round of fighting, they were all shocked. Although their cultivation was weak, their combat strength was not any weaker than theirs. Nanyang Zi, who was blocked by Si Wuxia, was horrified. He took out his middle-grade flying sword, but it was broken by Si Wuxia with a wave of her sleeve. He panicked and took out several magical treasures, but they were all broken by Si Wuxia's long sleeve. His storage bag gradually deflated. Nanyang Zi found that the gap between him and Si Wuxia was like heaven and earth. Gritting his teeth, Nanyang Zi took out an ancient green jade coffin. This ancient coffin was obtained by chance 300 years ago when he was young. He tried his best but still couldn't open this coffin. He vaguely guessed that this coffin was a powerful magical treasure, but he didn't know its grade. He also didn't know what was buried in the ancient coffin. No one knew that Nanyang Zi, who was now a famous figure in Yu country, was just a small grave robber 300 years ago. After stealing this coffin, Nanyang Zi didn't dare to let anyone see it. He only dared to study how to open the ancient coffin by himself. Today, in the face of life and death, he had no magical treasure to protect himself. He had no choice but to take out the ancient coffin and carry the huge green coffin, trying to kill Si Wuxia. This magical treasure of unknown grade might be able to suppress Si Wuxia, but before he could take out the ancient coffin, Si Wuxia waved her sleeve and hit Nanyang Zi's wrist. Pain came from his wrist, and the ancient coffin crashed into Ning City, right in the middle of Jihe's room. Later, Ning Fan gently carried the girl who seemed to be sleeping in the ancient coffin onto the bed. If he didn't hurt Jihe, he could only hurt the female corpse. Chapter 40. The female corpse's skin was snow white. No, it should not be called snow white. More accurately, it was deathly pale. After this woman died, she was sealed in the ancient coffin for an unknown number of years. People say that there is no concept of time in the world of cultivation. However, Ning Fan could deduce that this lady was at least a beauty from billions of years ago based on her attire. Her skin was lustrous and her bones were smooth. She had a graceful posture. Ning Fan even felt that this female corpse was actually a sleeping beauty. Her eyelashes were affectionate, and her hair was gentle. The female corpse was slightly thin, and her lips were pale red without blood. This girl might have been sickly and weak before. Perhaps, she was originally a sickly beauty. In Ning Fan's mind, there seemed to be an image of a weak girl who was self-pitying and burying her flowers with a hoe. In the lonely wind, it was like a stalk of crimson pearl immortal grass that had no one to rely on. Ning Fan shook his head and got rid of the strange thoughts in his mind. He smiled bitterly. What's wrong with me? I actually fell in love with a female corpse. Perhaps it was because he could empathize with a woman's loneliness. He looked at the dead woman's face and blamed himself. I can't pluck Jihe, I can't pluck Si Wuxie, so I can only settle for the next best thing, sorry. I don't have a choice. At this moment, suppressing the pain of the Jade Royal Dan was more important. Ning Fan sighed and pressed on. The cold temperature and the stiff corpse gave Ning Fan a sense of warmth that he had not felt for many years. It made Ning Fan fall into a trance again. The yin-yang demon vein's magic power circulated in the direction of reverse yang to generate yin in his broad palm. A trace of yin-yang magic power came out of his finger and pointed at the female corpse. The force of the yin plucking finger seeped into the female corpse's skin. Her originally stiff teeth unexpectedly softened. Although the woman was dead, her corpse seemed to have an instinctive reaction, and some saliva flowed out of her body. This made Ning Fan feel a chill down his spine. Was this woman dead or alive? Do dead people salivate? Ning Fan's fingertip went into the female corpse's small cherry-like mouth. He vaguely felt something sharp and pricked it. Sharp teeth. The female corpse had sharp teeth in her mouth. Ning Fan swallowed a Jade Royal Dan. His body was able to withstand the attack of a low-rank mid-rank magical treasure without any injuries, but after being pierced by the woman's sharp teeth, his skin was instantly broken. Moreover, a trace of poison quickly spread from the wound on her fingertip to his whole body. Corpse poison. Ning Fan used both of his hands to pry open her cherry lips. There were actually two sharp fangs in her mouth. All of a sudden, Ning Fan recalled a terrifying term from the immortal emperor's memory. Corpse demon. In ancient times, there were the monster race, the god race, and the devil race. Among the demons, there was a race called the corpse demons. Corpse demons were formed from corpses after the death of immortals and gods. They had their own intelligence and could not inherit the mana of the owner of the body, but they could inherit the strong body of the owner. Occasionally, they could also inherit the memories of the owner. In essence, the corpse demon and the corpse's owner were two different people. The probability of a corpse demon turning into a corpse demon was extremely low even in ancient times. It was not easy for 1 out of 1,000 immortal gods to turn into a corpse demon. He didn't expect that the female corpse he obtained by chance would turn into a corpse demon. Would she wake up? Would she jump out like a zombie? Would she open her fangs and bite his neck when he stabbed her? These thoughts flashed across Ning Fan's mind for just a moment. At this moment, plucking the female corpse was the most important matter. Everything had to be done before the pain from the Jade Royal pill hit him. I'm sorry. Ning Fan sighed softly. Half a year ago, he was still a well-educated and reasonable young man. Half a year later, he encountered a few unexpected disasters in his life and fell into the evil Tao, becoming a devil that didn't even let the female corpse go. In the cultivation world where the strong were respected, all worldly rituals were not as real as strength. They were not as precious as life. But Ning Fan still persisted. Jihe, his master, 7 Apricot City, Ninggu, and perhaps more. These warmth and sunshine would allow him to not lose his true nature in the evil Tao. This was a corpse demon, but in order to survive, Ning Fan had no other choice. After an unknown period of time, the female corpse's eyebrows seemed to wrinkle. Her body seemed to be in pain, but no matter how painful it was, she couldn't cry out. However, a trace of heat was urging the female corpse to turn into a corpse. On her lotus arm, the cinnabar that had guarded her for millions of years had dissipated. The cinnabar that guarded her virginity for someone? She couldn't remember, she couldn't remember. Who was plucking her? Who opened her green coffin? Was it that butterfly? The female corpse's withered sea of consciousness suddenly trembled, and her corpse eyes became ruthless and blood red. Chapter 41. Jihe was fine, but the female corpse was still conscious. Ning Fan couldn't help but be interested in the female corpse's origin. At the same time, he was also afraid of the female corpse's identity as a corpse devil. Little Jihe was so tired that she fell asleep. The female corpse's body was also cold red as if she was in deep sleep. A cold murderous aura seemed to be rising from the female corpse's body because of Ning Fan's urging. Ning Fan's eyes shrunk. If this female corpse awakened into a corpse devil, could he resist it? The female corpse was a dead person without magical power. After plucking, Ning Fan felt extremely comfortable and suppressed the pain. But his magical power didn't increase. It was not necessarily a fruitless harvest, but he seemed to have taken the corpse poison from the female corpse. He covered Jiha with a thin quilt and changed into a robe. Ning Fan waved his palm and a wisp of emerald green light coiled around his palm. It was a very beautiful light, but unfortunately, it could only be seen from afar and not touched. All of this was because this light was the corpse poison of the female corpse. If an ordinary harmonious spirit old monster came into contact with this corpse poison, they would be poisoned to death. It was a very strong poison. After obtaining this poison, Ning Fan's physique had a faint feeling of being immune to hundreds of poisons. And the second Jade Royal Dan's medicinal power had increased Ning Fan's physique to a terrifying level. He wouldn't be injured even if he were to face a low-rank high-rank magical treasure. The silver color in his bones deepened. If it completely turned into pure silver, he would be able to enter the body refining realm that gold core cultivators yearned for, the silver bone realm. Rumor has it that once a cultivator broke through the silver bone realm, his body would gain another ability. He would be able to transform into a Tenjiang giant and fight against an early nascent soul cultivator with his body alone. Other than the corpse poison and the silver bone, Ning Fan had another great harvest. The yin-yang locket was densely covered with 99 bloodlines. This meant that the first level of yin-yang transformation was finally completed. With the success of the first level, Ning Fan could finally control the yin-yang locket as he pleased. If the yin-yang locket didn't emit red light, it would be dual cultivation mode. Ning Fan could use the locket to improve his and Jiha's cultivation. If he used the first level ability, plucking, he could seize the cultivation of the female cauldron. Cauldron, it was time to refine the cauldron ring, or else there would be no place to store this female corpse. Ning Fan wiped the female corpse clean and changed her clothes. Then, he placed her back into the green jade coffin. He didn't know what material the coffin was made of. With Ning Fan's immortal emperor's eyesight, he could only see that it was extraordinary, but he couldn't tell what material it was made of. However, it seemed that the green jade coffin had the effect of restraining the corpse transformation. When the female corpse was placed back into the green coffin, the murderous aura was clearly suppressed. After closing the lid, Ning Fan looked at the green coffin with a complicated expression. In his heart, he secretly swore. He would never turn his back on the woman he loved. All the women he hated in his life had become his cauldron. As for himself, he would never fall in love with a human cauldron. He would never have any relationship with a woman who he didn't love or hate. However, what kind was the female corpse in front of him? Love her? Not really. Hate her? It was just his first encounter with the female corpse. How could he have any hatred towards her? However, he had met her hundreds of millions of years after her death and ruined her reputation. What should I do with the female corpse? This female corpse could not be kept by his side like Si Wuxie. Once she turned into a corpse demon, she would definitely be a peerless demon. He would be the first one to die if he violated her purity. Sealed in the coffin? After all, she had a relationship with him. Should he just seal her like this? Or should he resurrect her before she completely turned into a corpse demon? Forget it. I'll think about this after I forge the cauldron ring. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and kept the green coffin inside. He lowered his body and kissed Jiha's forehead. Then, he turned around and pushed the door open. His eyes were as cold as ice. It was time to deal with the 4 intruders. Even though Peace City was still a rundown city, but now that 4 old monsters had openly come knocking on his door, he could not let them go so easily. Corpse poison, sword intent, silver bone body. Ning Fan's current combat strength was probably close to a peak harmonious spirit old monster. If he launched a sneak attack, he might even be able to injure an early gold core old monster. Kill 2 to establish my prestige. Capture 2 for my own use. In an instant, Ning Fan had decided the fate of the 4 old monsters in the sky. The green ribbon that tied his hair flickered with green light. Ning Fan had activated his invisibility ability. Ning Fan stepped on the icy light and leaped into the sky. His figure suddenly disappeared in the vast sky. In the sky above Ning City, Lu Nanzi and the other 3 old men had been fighting against Nangong's group for a long time. All of their magical power had been consumed. Lu Nanzi, Chen, and Zhu were all peak harmonious spirit experts. In Yu country, they could be considered as first-class seniors, but when facing Nangong, Situ, and Yuchi, they couldn't gain the slightest advantage. Fortunately, the 3 old monsters were experienced in life and death situations. Their means were not bad. They didn't give much of an advantage to Nangong's group. They were only entangled by the 3 old monsters and couldn't escape Ning City. As for the gold core Nanyang Zi, he wasn't so calm. The order Si Wuxia received was not to let anyone escape. She faithfully and rigidly carried out Ning Fan's order. She waved her sleeves and blocked all of Nanyang Zi's escape routes. She could easily kill Nanyang Zi, but she didn't because Ning Fan didn't give the order. It was enough for her to prevent Nanyang Zi from escaping. When Nanyang Zi took out his magical treasure, she shattered it. Nanyang Zi took out an immortal cloud and wanted to escape, but she shattered it as well. In the end, Nanyang Zi simply stopped running and stopped moving. As a result, Si Wuxia leisurely stood in the sky and stopped attacking. Nanyang Zi's old face twitched. Was this holy and terrifying woman in front of him playing a trick on him? However, Nanyang Zi didn't dare to anger Si Wuxia. He deeply felt that it wouldn't take much effort for Si Wuxia to kill him. As long as I don't run, she won't kill me. Fine, I won't run anymore. In Ning City, there is a 4th Revolution Dan Master and a late Gold Core expert. Who exactly is the Lord of Ning City, young noble Ning? Or could it be that young noble Ning of Ning City doesn't dare to kill me? After all, I am still a guest elder of the Great Void Sect, a dignified righteous senior. Perhaps this young noble Ning doesn't want to offend the Great Void Sect. While Nanyang Zi was thinking, a starlight sword shadow suddenly appeared in the sky. The sword shadow went straight to Old Man Chen. Behind Old Man Chen, a young man in white robe and black cloak appeared out of thin air. The young man's face was covered with a vast cold cloth, blocking spirit sense. Nanyang Zi couldn't see his face clearly. Although the young man's cultivation was only at the intermediate harmonious spirit realm, he gave Nanyang Zi a sense of crisis. This young man obviously used an invisibility method to get close to Old Man Chen's back. Then, he slashed out a sword that contained a harmonious spirit sword intent. It caught Old Man Chen, who was fighting with Yuchi by surprise. All the hairs on his back stood up. His expression changed dramatically and he roared. Which scoundrel dares to sneak an attack? Almost without hesitation, Old Man Chen took out a Vajra talisman and stuck it on his chest. A burst of golden light rose up, trying to block the young man's sneak attack. At the same time, he leaped into the immortal cloud and retreated rapidly. However, the young man stepped on the icy light and turned into an icy rainbow. He held his sword and chased after Old Freak Chen. His speed was even faster than Old Freak Chen's. It was comparable to the speed of an early-stage gold core Old Freak. A sword turned into fire. The Vajra talisman that could withstand the full-force attack of an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator was destroyed by the young man's sword. However, the young man's sword aura didn't diminish at all. Starlight flashed. Old Man Chen's face was filled with horror. His waist was slashed into 2 halves. He died with everlasting regret. This young man was obviously an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator, but his sword chi was so sharp. And the invisibility method of his sneak attack was even more strange and difficult to defend. What kind of invisibility method was that? Invisibility art? No. How could Old Man Chen's spirit sense not be able to defend against the invisibility art of an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator? Greetings, young master. In the sky above Ning City, Nangong, Yuchi, and Situ stopped their attacks almost at the same time when they saw the young man kill a harmonious spirit cultivator. They stood respectfully with fiery eyes. Young master's strength has improved again. Killing a peak harmonious spirit cultivator with one sword, even if it was a sneak attack, it was still something to be proud of. Lu Nanzi, Old Man Zhu, and Nan Yangzi's expression changed dramatically when they heard everyone calling the young man young master. Could this young man be the lord of Ning City, young master Ning? A young man with an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivation, and his sword intent was enough to kill a peak harmonious spirit cultivator. He had 3 battle guards, a 4th Revolution Dan master, and a late gold core woman. This person could not be a nobody in Yu country. Who was he? When did an old monster with the surname Ning appear in Yu country? Especially Nanyang Zi, his eyesight was the highest among the 3. He could tell that this young man was extraordinary with just a glance. The starlight sword looked extraordinary. What kind of sword was this? A high-grade spiritual treasure mask. This young Master Ning was really generous. A high-grade spiritual treasure was something that only a few gold-core old devils could afford. The ice rainbow escape technique was comparable to a gold-core cultivator, and the sword intent was comparable to a late harmonious spirit attack. And the invisibility item just now was probably some kind of profound gold spirit invisibility equipment. Profound gold spirit equipment was something that even a gold-core old devil might not be able to afford. While Nanyang Zi was exclaiming in admiration, he suddenly saw Ning Fan's gaze at him with an immortal emperor-level murderous intent. In an instant, Nanyang Zi felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Chapter 42. Ning Fan's face was covered with a broad cold cloth. He stepped on an icy rainbow and stood in the sky. After killing Old Monster Chen, he collected the storage pouch and swept his eyes across the 3 people in the sky. Under his intense gaze, Nanyang Zi, Lu Nanzi and Old Monster Zhu felt their hearts tremble and cold sweat trickled down their foreheads. This man could kill Old Monster Chen with a single slash. It wouldn't be difficult for him to kill them. What did he want? My surname is Ning and my name is Black Devil. The 3 of you will become my slaves and plant a restrictive spell on you. You won't die. Ning Fan's voice was crisp but his tone sounded old. Coupled with his immortal emperor-level murderous intent, Nanyang Zi and the other 2 old monsters' expressions changed. Was this young man in front of them an old monster? Was he the lord of Ning City? But this was more realistic. To be able to become the lord of Ning City and build such a powerful force quietly, Nanyang Zi and the others could accept Ning Fan being an old monster. Ning Fan built Ning City as the garrison of the 3 Black Devil armies, but he didn't want to reveal his identity. Only mystery could truly frighten people. This was also taught by the old monster. Ning Fan's tone was a bit overbearing when he said that he wanted to take the 3 old monsters as slaves. Nanyang Zi, Lu Nanzi, and the old man surnamed Zhu were all famous seniors in the state of Yu. They were powerful figures who had lived for hundreds of years. How could they be slaves? Moreover, Ning Fan wanted to plant a restrictive spell on them. Nanyang Zi and the others gasped when they heard the name of restrictive spell. What was restrictive spell? It was a type of spirit sense forbidden spell. It could only be planted under the condition that there was no resistance. Once planted, the life and death of the target could be easily controlled by the person who planted the spell. It could be said that life and death could be controlled by a single thought. Only some ancient sects knew how to use restrictive spell. Some ancient sects would often plant restrictive spell to subdue a large number of foreign forces. Nanyang Zi and the others were guessing the background of this Black Devil Ning in front of them. How did he know how to plant restrictive spell? Could he be from an ancient sect? But even if this black devil Ning was from an ancient sect, it was impossible for him to take the three experts as his slaves. Take Nanyang Zi for example. No matter what, he was a guest elder of the Grand Vacuity sect. If one traced the origins of the Grand Vacuity sect, they were also affiliated with an ancient power. Nanyang Zi didn't believe that Black Devil Ning would dare to kill him and take him as a slave. As for Lu Nanzi and Old Man Zhu, their expressions became bitter. The two of them didn't have a strong background like Nanyang Zi. The former was the patriarch of the Lu clan. The Lu clan was not considered a small force in Yu country, but in the Rain world, it was just an ant-like existence. As for Old Man Zhu, his situation was even worse. Both he and Old Man Chen were rogue cultivators without any sect or background. Now that they were captured, there was no one to avenge them. What should they do? Could it be that they, three dignified seniors, were going to fall into the enemy's hands, be planted with a mental seal, and become slaves? Impossible. I will never be a slave to anyone. Black Devil Ning, don't go too far. This old man has been a rogue cultivator all my life, all for the sake of being free and unfettered. If you want me to be your slave, I might as well die. Humph. Old Man Zhu revealed a frenzied expression. His eyes were filled with monstrous hatred. He smashed his own chest and used his magical power to shatter the 12 immortal veins. His face was pale, but his chi rose rapidly, breaking through the peak of Harmonious Spirit Realm and advancing to the early Gold Core Realm. His magical power was even slightly stronger than Nanyang Zi's. Without a doubt, Old Man Zhu had used a self-harming secret technique. He wanted to risk his life. Since he couldn't escape, he might as well capture Black Devil Ning. This Black Devil Ning seemed to be an intermediate harmonious spirit expert, but he might be able to capture him with a sneak attack. Once he was captured, he would be able to capture the ringleader. Even if there were countless experts in Ning City, they wouldn't dare to stop him from leaving. In a flash, Old Man Zhu appeared in front of Ning Fan. He patted his storage pouch and 108 golden lightbolt swords flew towards Ning Fan like a meteor shower. Old Man Zhu's sudden attack was out of Nanyang Zi's and Lu Nanzi's expectations. It was even more out of Nangong and the others' expectations. Si Wuxia saw that Ning Fan's was in danger. Her elegant eyebrows became cold. She took a step forward and was about to save him, but she suddenly stopped. Ning Fan didn't show any sign of fear when facing Old Man Zhu's sneak attack and the 108 mother-child flying daggers. There was only the same indifference in his eyes. Vein-shattering secret technique, shattering 12 immortal veins can allow me to exert gold core magical power in a short period of time. Ning Fan didn't even try to dodge the 108 flying daggers. His body was glowing with a faint silver light. Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi were startled when they saw Ning Fan didn't defend himself against Old Man Zhu's attack. Then, they were delighted. They didn't expect that Old Man Zhu would be willing to sacrifice his own cultivation to sneak attack Ning Fan at such a critical moment. They didn't expect Ning Fan to be so scared that he didn't even try to dodge. Success. Once Old Man Zhu took down Ning Fan and the Lord of Ning City, no one in Ning City would dare to stop them from leaving. However, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi's smile turned into deep shock. It was because both of them saw a trace of dazzling silver light rising from the surface of Ning Fan's body. This is the Silver Bone Realm. The Silver Bone Realm was the highest realm of body refining technique. The cultivator could fight against an early nascent soul cultivator with their physical strength. Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi hadn't seen the real silver bone before. They didn't know that Ning Fan's body refining technique was far from the silver bone realm. When Old Man Zhu saw Ning Fan's body glowing with silver light, he felt a chill down his spine and a sense of imminent death. Not good, this person is a silver bone body cultivator. My 108 mother-child flying daggers are only mid-low grade. How can they hurt this person? Run. He regretted thinking that he was smart and wanted to capture the ringleader in order to catch the bandits. He should have agreed to be Ning Fan's servant and planted a restrictive spell on him. Although he would lose his freedom for the rest of his life, at least he could still keep his life. Regret, so much regret. But there was never a chance to choose again in life. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. His fist was covered in silver light like a storm. The 108 mother-child flying daggers were all mid-low grade, but under the silver light, all of them turned into powder. The ancient beast wristband on Ning Fan's right wrist glowed with a brown light. With 30% of his strength, he punched at Old Man Zhu's sleeve. The power of this punch was enough to break a high low-grade magical treasure. With the addition of 30% of his strength, it only took one punch to shatter Old Man Zhu's inner armor. Hundreds of punches landed on Old Man Zhu's chest, leaving him defenseless. Hundreds of punches rampaged inside Old Man Zhu's body. Old Man Zhu's eyes turned white. He had been dead for a long time. His meridians were all destroyed. After a few breaths, his body inflated like a balloon and burst into blood foam, adding a bloody smell to the clear sky. Shocking! An intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator killed an early gold core Old Man Zhu with a single punch. Nanyang Zi felt a chill in his chest. If he was the one who ambushed Ning Fan, his ending would not be any better than Old Man Zhu. Lu Nanzi was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. He was a body refinement cultivator, but he had always used the body refinement technique as a defensive technique. He had never thought that cultivators in the cultivation world could use their fists to fight. Didn't cultivators always use magical techniques and magical treasures in fights? How could they be like mortals, using fists and legs at the same time? Lu Nanzi didn't know that in ancient times, when the three sects coexisted, martial arts were very important to the immortals. Fiend gods at that time had indestructible bodies and were not afraid of ordinary magical treasures. During a fight, they would first use their bodies to fight for hundreds of rounds. Only when they couldn't decide the winner would they use their immemorial divine weapons. It wasn't because the future cultivation world didn't pay attention to the body refinement technique, but because the fiend god body refinement technique of the immemorial divine veins and evil veins was lost. Nangong Zi's eyes revealed a trace of passion. The old monster's cultivation was completely crippled. Originally, he was discouraged from reviving 7 Apricot City, but he didn't expect that young Lord Ning Fan's talent and methods were not any weaker than the old monster. Just half a year of cultivation was enough to kill harmonious spirit and gold core cultivators with his various methods. With Ning Fan's current strength, he could be ranked in the top 100 among the millions of cultivators in Yu country. As for Ning Fan, after killing Old Man Zhu, he waved his palm and took his storage pouch. His eyes lightly swept over Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi. His original plan was to kill 2 people and subdue the other 2. Old Man Zhu and Old Man Chen had inferior magical treasures and shabby equipment. With one glance, one could tell that they were rogue cultivators. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi, on the other hand, both of them seemed to have extraordinary backgrounds. It was better to subdue them than to kill them. Ning City had just been established and needed to expand its forces. These 2 deserved their bad luck for provoking Ning Fan at this juncture. They would become Ning Fan's slaves. Plant a restrictive spell on them and become my slave, then you won't die. Ning Fan's tone was very light, but this time, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi didn't dare to ignore his words. Both of them glanced at each other and felt a trace of powerlessness. Did they still have a choice? Both of us are willing to become Lord's slaves. On the second day after Ning City was established, a strange news suddenly came out. Lu family of Western Yu had become a cultivation clan affiliated to Ning City. This news was like a bolt from the blue. After all, even the Great Void sect and other first-rank sects had extended an olive branch to Lu family, but Lu family didn't submit to them. Lu family of Western Yu had actually submitted to Ning City, a new power. This news was too shocking. Moreover, there was a rumor that the Lord of Ning City, Black Devil Ning, had single-handedly killed 2 peak harmonious spirit experts, Chen and Zhu. The latter had used a secret technique to advance his cultivation to the gold core realm before he died. Because of this achievement, on the same day, a bright name appeared on the heavenly devil list of Yu country, Black Devil Ning. Black Devil Ning, age, unknown. Origin, unknown. Rumor has it that this person had 3 battalions and a late Gold Corps fighter. Moreover, he seemed to be a 4th Revolution Dan master. 3 battalions and a late Gold Corps fighter. These 2 news made many righteous old monsters frown. After all, Ning City was obviously a force of evil Tao. If evil Tao grew stronger in Yu country, righteous Tao would grow stronger and weaker. In fact, many demonic sects even had the idea of destroying Ning City before it grew stronger, taking it for their own use. However, as soon as they heard the words 4th Revolution Pill Refinement Master, countless old monsters who were hostile to Ning Ching immediately smiled until their old faces turned into chrysanthemums. They didn't have the slightest hostility towards Ning City anymore. Almost at the same time, the righteous Tao and evil Tao of Yu country issued an order that no one was allowed to attack Ning City. It wasn't easy for a 4th Revolution Dan master to appear in Yu country. At this moment, many people were waiting bitterly. Whether it was the leader of the righteous Tao or the overlord of evil Tao, all of them needed pills for their cultivation. Even those old monsters who were stuck at the peak Gold Corps realm and couldn't break through to the nascent soul realm only lacked 1 pill, a 4th Revolution Dan. They only needed 1 4th Revolution Dan to break through to the nascent soul realm. If Ning City was destroyed, who would concoct pills for them? Elder Tian Ming, bring some people to Ning City to ask for a nascent formation pill. No matter what condition the Lord of Ning City has, we can discuss it. The Supreme Elder of the Great Void Sect, who had lived for 1,000 years, excitedly came out of seclusion after hearing the news of a 4th Revolution Dan master. Nascent formation pill, your father wants a nascent formation pill. Quickly send a gift to Ning City and ask for a pill for me. In the ancestral grave of the corpse-seizing sect, a rotten old monster crawled out of the grave. Extreme Een Gate, Limitless Sect, even Sinister Sparrows Sect, countless old monsters that had been forgotten for countless years appeared one after another, asking the juniors of their sects to ask for pills and befriend Ning City at all costs. These old monsters had one thing in common: they were all famous figures thousands of years ago. Their cultivation was stuck at the peak Gold Corps realm and couldn't form their nascent soul. There was no other way, forming a nascent soul was too difficult. 1,000 vein opening cultivators could produce 1 harmonious spirit. 100 harmonious spirit cultivators could produce 1 gold core. 100 gold core cultivators might not necessarily produce 1 nascent soul. There were millions of cultivators in Yu country, but there wasn't a single nascent soul cultivator. Even the sect master of Heaven Separation Sect, who was closest to the nascent soul realm, was captured by someone and his whereabouts were unknown. Whoever broke through to the nascent soul realm first would be able to unify Yu country. Whoever dared to destroy Ning City and destroy the hope of countless old monsters to form their nascent soul was courting death. That person would become the enemy of the millions of cultivators in Yu country. Of course, there were also old monsters secretly offering rewards to inquire about the background of the Lord of Ning City, Black Devil Ning. If he didn't have a powerful background, many old monsters would have the desire to capture this 4th Revolution Dan master and secretly recruit him for their own use. But, who exactly is Black Devil Ning? This question was destined to trouble many people. On the second day of the construction of Ning City, Ning Fan was leisurely lying on a recliner, basking in the sun. He frowned while reading the information given by Yuchi. It seems like exposing my 4th Revolution Dan master has stirred up a lot of trouble. If that's the case, I mustn't reveal my true identity in a short period of time. If those old monsters knew that a dignified 4th Revolution Dan master was merely an intermediate harmonious spirit junior, I'm afraid that they wouldn't ask me to concoct pills for them. Instead, they would directly come to capture me. Master said that only by being mysterious can people be fearful. What people fear the most is the unknown. That's why they wouldn't dare to play dirty tricks. I can concoct pills for them. In this way, I can collect a large number of herbs in a short period of time to concoct the pills I need and break through the realm rapidly. At the same time, I mustn't reveal my true identity and cultivation base. The identity of Black Devil Ning must remain a mystery forever. From today onwards, I will hide my face as Black Devil and reveal my face as Ning Fan. Ning Fan glanced sideways at Yuchi. Yuchi, issue a gag order. Order the 3 divine armies to make a Heart's Devil oath to never reveal my identity. Those who disobey will be beheaded. Yes. Chapter 43. During the battle during the day, he had killed Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators and Gold Core Realm cultivators. Ning Fan had gained a lot of insights and needed to comprehend them carefully. Ordinary people would need hundreds of years to reach the Gold Core Realm, but Ning Fan only needed half a year to kill Gold Core Realm cultivators. The speed of his advancement was terrifying. However, Ning Fan didn't feel proud at all. He knew that in this world, there were countless descendants of fiend gods and fiend gods above the 4 heavens. None of them were weaker than him in terms of cultivation speed. Gold Core Realm cultivators might be considered as seniors in the Reign Immortal world, but in the 4 heavens, their treatment wouldn't be much better than mortals. Neither arrogant nor rash, neither servile nor overbearing, this was Ning Fan's cultivation state. 100 years later, he would have a battle with Moksha Emperor. At that time, Moksha Emperor wouldn't be careless and would never show mercy. And Ning Fan didn't want to lose to Moksha Emperor. Moksha Emperor of the Devil World was one of the top 10 experts in the 9 great immortal worlds. 100 years later, he would probably die in Ning Fan's hands. To Ning Fan, there were 3 ways to quickly improve his strength. The first was dual cultivation, the second was Dan concoction, and the third was to search for the heavenly frost and earthly fire. The heavenly frost and earthly fire depended on luck and couldn't be forced. Until now, Ning Fan had yet to completely refine the Black Demon Flame and White Bone Flame. Each of the 12 Earth Vein demonic flames was extremely overbearing. There were many conditions to refine and devour the fire marrow. First of all, one needed to cultivate a fire attribute cultivation method to an extremely high level. The Black Demon Art was a relatively high-level fire attribute cultivation method, but Ning Fan didn't have the time to cultivate it. In order to refine the Earth Fire Marrow, he needed to cultivate the Black Demon Art first. Secondly, he needed to choose an extremely cold place to devour the Earth Vein demonic flame. For example, the Black Demon Flame. The flame's true form was 9 black fire dragons. Ning Fan could dominate Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators with just 1 black fire dragon. Even a Gold Core expert wouldn't be able to withstand the power of the 9 black dragons. With such a powerful flame, he needed to choose an extremely cold place to devour it. Lastly, just in case, he needed to concoct some meridian protection pills to prevent his meridians from being burned by the flame. In the Reign Immortal world, there was a nascent soul expert who devoured the Earth Vein demonic flame, Blue Phoenix Flame. Due to lack of preparation, he was burned to death by the demonic flame. Devouring and refining the Black Demon Flame and White Bone Flame required thorough preparation. At least for the time being, Ning Fan was unable to devour them. And in Sinister Sparrow Sect, it was said that there was a heavenly frost cold chi, Black Yin Chi. Devouring the mysterious Yin Chi was similar to devouring the demonic fire. It also required 3 layers of preparation. Land of Extreme Yang, Snow Treading Art, Meridian Protection Pill. The 12 Heavenly Frost Cold Chi and the 12 Earth Vein Demonic Flames. Except for a few of them that were extremely rare, it was not difficult for him to collect all of them within 100 years. Once he gathered the Heavenly Frost Cold Chi and the Earth Vein Demonic Flame, he would be able to put up a fight against an invincible Void Fragmentation Realm expert. Other than searching for cold air and demonic fire, there were other ways to improve his strength, such as dual cultivation and alchemy. There was no need to talk about dual cultivation. One of the things he had to do in the refinement room was to forge the cauldron ring. Since he had already become a demon, why should he turn back? Once the cauldron ring was refined, Ning Fan would only have one way to deal with his female enemies in the future. Capture them, plant a scent seal on them and make them his cauldron. Now that he had reached the first level of the yin-yang transformation, the yin-yang locket had also unlocked a level of divine power. In order to reach the second level, he needed to have intercourse with a nascent soul female cultivator. There was not a single nascent soul female cultivator in Yu country, so it would be impossible for him to unlock the second level of the yin-yang locket in a short period of time. As Ning Fan's cultivation increased, the effect of dual cultivation with Jihe was almost non-existent. He needed a powerful cauldron for dual cultivation, at least a gold core cultivator. Ning Fan still couldn't do anything to see Wuxie. This woman was becoming more and more dependent on Ning Fan and was becoming more and more obedient. Even now, if Ning Fan really wanted to pluck her, Si Wuxie would be happy. This made Ning Fan unable to vent the hatred in his heart. However, with Ning Fan's current cultivation, it was not difficult to capture an early gold core female cultivator. It would be best if no gold core female cultivator dared to provoke Ning Fan, otherwise, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. As for Dan concoction, it was undoubtedly the fastest way for Ning Fan to increase his cultivation. The yin-yang evil vein's refining speed was heaven-defying. With Ning Fan's fourth revolution Dan concoction technique, as long as he had enough ingredients, he wouldn't have to worry about the source of the Dan before he reached the nascent soul realm. However, the Dan after nascent soul realm needed to be at least fifth revolution. It was unknown whether Ning Fan could concoct fifth revolution Dan in the future. Now that all the forces in Yu country knew that Black Devil Ning was a fourth revolution Dan master, there would be countless forces coming to him with medicinal ingredients. The clouds moved in all directions for the sake of a young man. It was the rule to prepare one's own medicinal ingredients for Dan concoction. Even if the alchemist failed, the alchemist couldn't be held responsible for it. This was also the rule. Alchemist was a profession that transcended the righteous path and the evil path. Of course, high-grade spirit augmentation master, formation master, blacksmith master and other professions were also sought after by the experts. The only thing he had to pay attention to was not to reveal his true cultivation when dealing with the forces. At least, he had to wait until he was strong enough before revealing his true identity. From then on, he would be Ning Fan when he showed his face, and Black Devil when he hid his face. He would continue to play the double identity. Anyway, the world was vast and the cultivators in the cultivation world were like ants. Who knew if there was really a Black Devil Ning in this world? By the time he had sorted out his thoughts, it was already midnight. Ning Fan's mind was as calm as still water. He waved his palm and took out 3 bottles of Rising Spirit Dan. These were naturally taken from Yan Zhuiyin's hands. Early Harmonious Spirit, Intermediate Spirit Ascension, Late Spirit Consolidation. As long as he could raise the spirit of 100 yin-yang evil veins, he would be able to advance to the Late Harmonious Spirit realm. Normally, it would take 100 years to advance from Intermediate to Late Harmonious Spirit realm, but for Ning Fan, he smiled faintly and flicked the cork of the bottle with his finger. He swallowed a Rising Spirit Dan and began to refine the medicinal energy. Originally, 1 Rising Spirit Dan was enough to raise the spirit of 1 immortal vein, but Ning Fan cultivated ice and fire at the same time. 2 Rising Spirit Dawn were enough to raise the spirit of 1 yin-yang evil vein. In just 2 hours, 60 Rising Spirit Dawn had been refined in Ning Fan's body. 30 yin-yang evil veins had their spirit raised and their meridians were widened. Ning Fan's magical power had almost doubled after opening 30 immortal veins. The higher the level of cultivation, the greater the gap between each level. Excluding Nangong, Situ, and Yuchi who were invincible in the same realm, it was not difficult for an ordinary late harmonious spirit to kill an intermediate harmonious spirit. The medicinal ingredients of Rising Spirit Dan were rare in Yu country. Ning Fan couldn't refine them with his current spiritual herbs. He didn't know where Yan Zhuiyun got this batch of Rising Spirit Dan. Ning Fan shook his head and suppressed his thoughts. He flipped his palm and took out a piece of black immortal ore. Joyous Union Iron. A divine material to refine the cauldron ring. The cauldron ring was one of the secret treasures used by the ancient fiend gods. It could form a space that could accommodate living people. It was the most suitable cauldron for devils. Unfortunately, the refining method was lost and joyous union iron was hard to find. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to refine it, but Ning Fan's luck was not bad. After pondering for a moment, he threw the joyous union iron into the furnace. He used his spirit sense to control the flame and began the refining process. This night, countless people were destined to have insomnia. Some were excited, like those old monsters who had hopes of forming their nascent souls. Some were restless, like Nanyang Zi, Lu Nanzi, Lu Ming, and the Southern House Battle Guards. Regret, if I knew Ning Cheng's water was so deep, why would I help that old fart Lu Nanzi? Nanyang Zi was sitting cross-legged on the bed, healing his internal injuries. Once he sensed the forbidden spell in his sea of consciousness that he couldn't resist, Nanyang Zi's old face became bitter. Who asked him to kill Ning Cheng? Wasn't it his own fault for becoming a slave? Lu Nanzi also couldn't sleep. Deep into the night, he and Lu Ming were sitting in a small wooden house in Ningcheng, sighing at each other. The Lu family wasn't big, but it was still a formidable force in Yu country. Lu Nanzi had trained the Southern House Battle Guards for his whole life. Today, he was unlucky enough to become Ning Fan's slave. Of the Southern House Battle Guards that he trained, 300 died, leaving only 200. The remaining 200 will become someone else's subordinates. Thinking of this, Lu Nanzi wanted to spurt out a mouthful of blood. It was said that Ning Fan had ordered him to bring the Southern House Battle Guards to train the 3 divine armies tomorrow. Sigh, so be it. I'm just a fish on the chopping block. What else can I say? However, Lu Nanzi was still unsatisfied with Ning Fan. His arrogance was even higher than Nanyang Zi's. Lu Nanzi believed that if he didn't spend his whole life on the Southern House Battle Guards, he would have already broken through to the Gold Core realm. His aptitude wasn't any worse than Nanyang Zi's. Lu Nanzi's greatest strength was his ability to train the battle guards. The Great Voids sect had extended an olive branch to Lu Nanzi several times because of his ability to lead the troops. In this aspect, Lu Nanzi was very conceited. Humph, wasn't the 3 divine armies and the Southern House Battle Guards going to train together tomorrow? Lu Nanzi must put on a good show to show his face and surprise that Black Devil Ning. What good would it do to him if he surprised Black Devil Ning? Lu Nanzi didn't care. Anyway, he felt aggrieved, dissatisfied, and annoyed. Sigh. This old man is really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. Lu Nanzi heaved a long sigh with a sad expression. I'm afraid my life is going to end like this. This night, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi couldn't sleep. But after tomorrow, these 2 old men felt that following Ning Fan wasn't a bad thing. Many years later, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi became void fragmentation old monsters that could stomp their feet and shake the rain immortal world. The thing that they were most grateful for was that they were captured by a young man who called himself Black Devil Ning. Chapter 44. The sun rose from the east and purple chi came from the east. In the morning light, the 3 black demon armies had already started their drill outside the city. Half an hour later, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi arrived with the Southern House Battle Guards. Nanyang Zi was in low spirits, obviously he did not sleep well. As for Lu Nanzi, his face was full of arrogance. Today, he must use the Southern House Battle Guards to surprise Ning fans. Fellow Lu Nanzi, it seems like you did not sleep well last night. Nangong smiled. Thank you for your concern, but whether I slept well or not, it has nothing to do with you. Lu Nanzi's eyes twitched, he felt that Nangong was humiliating him. Hee, fellow Lu, you seem to have some resentment in your words. Let me ask you, you became the master's slave, who do you blame? If you did not attack Ning City first, would you have ended up like this? To put it bluntly, you only have yourself to blame for all of this. Nangong's words were not pleasant to hear, but it touched Lu Nanzi's heart. Lu Nanzi originally had a trace of resentment in his heart, but it gradually lessened. He sighed and said, that's right, I brought this upon myself. Even if I die, I deserve it. What an awkward character. When others cared about him, he was excited. When others criticized him, he still listened. Fellow Lu, your words are absurd. To be able to follow my master, I am afraid this is not a disaster, but a blessing for you. Lu Nanzi did not reply, but in his heart, he was cursing. Being captured, planted with a mental seal, and enslaved with a dark future, this is called a blessing? Even if you are talking nonsense, there should be a limit. Hee, I heard that fellow Lu is a formation master. Do you want to compete with my Ning City battle guards? Nangong smiled again, his eyes squinted as if he could read people's minds. These words once again touched Lu Nanzi's heart. Competing in formations? Today, Lu Nanzi came here to compete in formations, to earn some face. When it came to formations, Lu Nanzi's eyes lit up. He immediately ordered Lu Ming to order 200 Southern House Guards to form a waning moon formation. Originally, the 500 Southern Tower Guards were skilled in the lunar kulpa formation, which allowed them to surround their enemies and kill them fiercely. Now that they did not have enough manpower, Lu Nanzi came up with an ingenious idea and changed it to the missing moon formation. Waning moon formation. Close 3 times and defend 1. Give up on offense and focus on defense. To be able to set up such a defensive formation with a mere 200 people, Lu Nanzi's formation Dao cultivation was not weak at all. Nangong's eyes lit up. This Lu Nanzi was really a talent. Why not persuade him to surrender, and increase the young master's strength? 40 years ago, he, Nangong, was known as Heaven's Secret. He served the old monster purely as a strategist and logistician. When the old monster wasn't around, he was in charge of the overall situation. In order to be able to deal with all kinds of unexpected situations calmly, Nangong destroyed his early gold core realm lightning attribute immortal meridians, changed his murderous nature, and recultivated the ice attribute immortal meridians. Thunder makes one impatient, while ice makes one calm and observes the world. Under Nangong's coldness, there was actually a devil's heart that wanted to slaughter the world. No one knew that this handsome young man who looked like a young master next door was once a devil monarch who killed people like grass. It could even be said that the old monster's great forces were all persuaded by Nangong one by one. Yuchi was loyal, but he was not flexible. Situ wholeheartedly cultivated, but he was a man of few words and didn't know how to interact with others. And Nangong was the mediator of the overall situation. The old monster let Nangong assist Ning fans. Ning fans absolutely picked up a treasure. Persuading him to surrender, attacking the heart is the best. First, erase Lu Nanzi's proudest point. Nangong's eyes flashed an undetectable trace of lightning. He looked at Lu Nanzi like a wolf looking at a lamb. Ugh, fellow Nangong, why are you looking at me like that? This old man's waning moon formation, is it not good? Lu Nanzi's soul shuddered. The Nangong in front of him was an intermediate harmonious spirit expert, but his eyes seemed to be sharper and scarier than an early gold core old devil. Lu Nanzi couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Fellow Lu is truly a formation genius. Nangong admires you. However, would fellow Taoist Lu be willing to admire the formation of my 3 black demon armies? 3 black demon armies? It sounds familiar. I seem to have heard it somewhere before. Lu Nanzi shook his head and couldn't remember this name. After all, 40 years ago, even though the 3 black demon armies had a great reputation, it was like a flash in the pan and was quickly suppressed by others. He raised his old eyes and stared at the formation of the 3 black demon armies. Nangong didn't command, but the 3 black demon armies were well trained. In just a few breaths of time, they had already formed 3 major formations. What a fast formation! Lu Nanzi's eyes were filled with amazement. But in the entire Yu country, there were no more than 3 armies that could match this formation speed. When Lu Nanzi's eyes fell on the formation of the 3 black demon armies, he was shocked. The formation that the 3 black demon armies had arranged was actually an ancient formation. The Apricot Guards Yin and Yang Chaotic Apricot Formation, the Sword Guards 3 Talents Killing Sword Formation, and the Ice Guards 4 Harmonies Ice Emperor Formation. These three types of grand formations were extremely rare in the present day. But what shocked Lu Nanzi the most was not the formation itself, but the fact that the three formations showed signs of being modified by someone. The ancient formation had been passed down to this day and had been perfected by countless generations of cultivators. There was still room for modification. Or was it someone who modified the formation? Lu Nanzi put himself in the shoes of the commander of the three black demon armies and tried to modify the three major formations, but he found that he couldn't do so no matter what. It was already amazing that he could see that the three major formations had been modified based on his cultivation base. An outsider wouldn't be able to see anything because the modified formations had already become natural. May I ask fellow Nangong if this formation has been modified by someone? Lu Nanzi swallowed his saliva. There was no longer a trace of pride in his heart. His cultivation base in the Tao of formation was nothing. Those who could modify the ancient formation were the true masters of the Tao of formation. That's right. This formation has indeed been modified, and the one who modified it is our city lord, Black Devil Ning. Hiss. It's the city lord. The city lord's concoction technique is already superb. Could it be that his formation technique is also as profound? How is this possible? Everyone's energy is limited. I've spent my whole life trying to comprehend this little bit of Tao of formation. There's no such thing as an all-rounder in this world, at least in Rain Immortal World. If there's no such person in Rain Immortal World, what about the higher realms? Nangong smiled gently like a young master next door. He seemed a little shy, but his words were like the thunder of the 9 heavens, booming in Lu Nanzi's ears. Even Nanyang Zi, who was at the side, revealed a look of astonishment. The so-called old devil Ning was actually a big shot in the 4 heavens immortal world. If that was the case, it wouldn't be strange for him to master both the Tao of formation and Tao of pill at the same time. If that was the case, it wouldn't be a loss for them to become the city lord's slaves. Many people dreamed of becoming the slaves of the immortals in the 4 heavens, but the immortals didn't even care about it. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. Misfortune could be a blessing in disguise. The two of them had actually become the slaves of such a big shot. Didn't it mean that they would have the chance to ascend to the 4 heavens immortal world in the future and become immortals? In their eyes, there was no more sorrow, dissatisfaction, resentment, arrogance and rudeness. There was only an unbelievable excitement. It was great that they could become the slaves of Black Devil Ning. If Nangong was his usual self, he would be able to convince these 2 stubborn old men to surrender with just a few words. This time, Nanyang Zi and Lu Nanzi were truly willing to surrender. Even without the restrictive spell, they wouldn't betray Ning fans. Beside Nangong, Situ's expression didn't change, but Yuchi curled his lips and curled his lips. He knew that his young master wasn't a big shot in the 4 heavens immortal world. He was just a young boy who had cultivated for half a year. Big brother Nangong, you're lying again. That year, he used this method to trick the 7 apricot 4 families into becoming the Lord's subordinates. Unfortunately, Nangong's lies didn't stop. Fellow Taoist Lu, fellow Taoist Nanyang, look at me. How am I, Nangong, doing? Do you know that 300 years ago, I also offended the city lord because of my own fault? I was taken in as a slave by the city lord. At that time, I even had the thought of dying because I thought that I wouldn't have the chance to display my talents in this lifetime. But look at me, I, Nangong, am now the leader of the 3 black demon armies. The city lord thinks highly of me. If the 2 of you are loyal to the city lord, I'm sure that you will be able to get rid of your slave status and be put in an important position like me. It won't be difficult for you to ascend to the immortal realm in the future. What? Fellow Nangong was once a slave. This, Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi were so shocked that their mouths couldn't close. Their hope for life was rekindled. Nangong had been a slave for 300 years. Now, he had finally gotten rid of his slave status and was put in an important position by Black Devil Ning. If the two of them were loyal to the city lord, one day, Black Devil Ning would be willing to remove the restrictive spell for them and restore their freedom. Both of us are willing to serve the city lord wholeheartedly. Fellow Taoist Nan Gong, I wonder what the city lord likes. Hee, why don't you tell us about it so that we can cater to his preferences? Cater to his preferences. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi each took out a storage pouch with 2,000 immortal jades and passed it to Nan Gong. One should at least show some sincerity when asking for advice. Nan Gong, on the other hand, put away the money skillfully and smiled in a feminine manner. Fellow Lu, fellow Nanyang, you two are too polite. Since you two are so sincere, I have to give you some advice. After all, I have followed the city lord for 300 years. I more or less know some of the city lord's preferences. This scene made Yuchi's eyes pop out. Just a few words of nonsense and he got 4,000 immortal jades. Big brother Nangong was too good at cheating money. Then, Nangong began to talk nonsense as if he had really lived with Ning fans for 300 years. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi were sometimes shocked, sometimes delighted, and sometimes pondering. Their expressions were extremely complicated. City lord likes women. And, if there's a chance, I will get some beautiful cauldrons for city lord. What? City lord likes money. And, this is good. This old man also likes money. It seems that I will get along well with city lord. What? City lord likes the underwear of virgins? This is not easy to get, what? City lord likes to watch beauties bathing. Nangong tricked Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi, but there was still a trace of worry in his eyes. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi weren't the ones who were worried. Both of them had sincerely pledged their allegiance and were no longer a hidden danger. The purpose of Nangong's existence was to erase all hidden dangers for Ning fans. However, there was a hidden danger that Nangong himself didn't know how to erase. Ning City Lord, Black Devil Ning. How could he hide his identity? Not many people knew about the 3 black demon armies, but there would always be someone who knew. In the future, when the major sects sent people to ask for the medicine, someone would be able to see through the identity of the 3 black demon armies and guess that Ning City Lord had a close relationship with the old monster. Perhaps by following the clues, they would be able to guess that Ning Fan's identity was the new disciple of the old monster. After all, not many people had seen Ning fans in the auction that day, but there were still a lot of them. Ning fans' gaze had deterred the group of devils that day, leaving a deep impression on them. I wonder how young Lord will hide his identity as Black Devil Ning, but so what if he can't hide his identity? Even if young Lord's identity is exposed and people know that he is a dignified 4th Revolution Dan Master with only a harmonious spirit cultivation, even if the righteous and evil sects come to ambush young Lord, even if the 4 heavenly gods and Buddhas want to hurt young Lord, I, Nangong, swear to protect young Lord with my life. In Ning City, Ning fans didn't cover his face with the broad cold cloth. He pushed the door open leisurely, followed by little Jiha. Beside him was an old man in a black robe. The old man's facial features were somewhat similar to Ning fans, but his face was covered with the broad cold cloth. If the cloth wasn't removed, people would think that this old man was Ning fan. However, the old man's cultivation of the golden core late stage was not fake. However, the old man's white eyebrows were like those of a woman. They would occasionally frown, and a dissatisfied snort would occasionally come out of the old man's mouth. Although the snort was neither fish nor fowl, it was very moving and pleasant to hear. Master, why did you make Cece use the appearance-changing technique to become so ugly? Cece doesn't want to be an old man. I don't like it. It turned out that this black-robed old man was a character that Si Wuxia had transformed into using the appearance-changing technique. Cece, listen to me. Don't make a fuss. Ning Fan felt a headache coming on. Ning Fan's intention was to let Si Wuxia disguise as Black Devil Ning, but how could she conceal her own identity? Actually, it was very easy. Just let him and Black Devil Ning appear at the same time. Now that the three Black Devil divine armies knew that Ning Fan was Black Devil Ning, there were more than 1,000 devil cultivators. No matter how tight-lipped they are, it would be hard for them to keep their mouths shut. In order to conceal his identity as Black Devil Ning, he had to deceive his own people. He wanted to separate the identity of Black Devil Ning from Ning Fan. Devils had to know how to deceive. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive in this world. The old monster's words appeared in Ning Fan's mind again. If that was the case, he would artificially create a Black Devil Ning to tell the three Black Devil divine armies that he wasn't Black Devil Ning. He would let Si Wuxia act as the fake Black Devil Ning. When the real concoction was done, he would be the one to do it. No matter what, Si Wuxia was a late gold core cultivator. Once she impersonated Black Devil Ning, even the righteous and evil sects wouldn't dare to touch her. As for Ning Fan, he would be able to wander between the righteous and evil sects like a fish in the water. In the art of war, this move was called reincarnation in a corpse, but it was used by Ning Fan in this way. Before Si Wuxia was refined into a puppet, she had impersonated a man for countless years. Her acting skills were top-notch. No one would be able to see through her acting skills. At this moment, every frown and smile of Si Wuxia was very similar to Ning Fan, but there was one flaw. The only thing that gave Ning Fan a headache was that Si Wuxia would speak from time to time. Her voice was so delicate that it would be exposed in an instant. Cici, remember, don't speak in front of outsiders. If I don't speak, Cici will feel very uncomfortable and bored. The black-robed old man curled his lips like a young girl. Your words will probably kill me. Ning Fan decided to scare Si Wuxia. Will kill you? Then I won't speak, okay? Cici, bear with it. Si Wuxia covered her mouth with her hand and made a cute gesture. Unfortunately, it was done with the body of an old man. Ning Fan's brows twitched. Si Wuxia was so obedient and protective of him. It was getting harder and harder for him to do anything to her. Why did he have to erase Si Wuxia's memory, causing her to become like this? But if he didn't erase her memory, it was hard to guarantee that Si Wuxia wouldn't do something shocking and kill Ning Fan. After all, Si Wuxia's true self was a big shot in the Four Heavens immortal world, Jade Lake Saintess. This woman, how should I deal with her in the future? While Ning Fan was feeling vexed, little Ji he blinked her big eyes and looked at Si Wuxia and Ning Fan strangely. Where did Brother Fan pick up Sister Cici? I don't know and I don't understand. But Sister Cici is really good to Brother Fan. Oh yes, there is also a female corpse sister. Brother Fan always picks up everything. This time, he won't pick up a demonic beast sister, right? At the same time, experts from all directions were rushing towards Ning City. Even the sinister Sparrow sect, which was preparing for the disciple recruitment ceremony, also sent out their elders to befriend Ning City. Who was Black Devil Ning? They must come to find out the truth. However, they were destined to be unable to see the real Black Devil Ning. Why are there two young masters? Yuchi scratched his head innocently while looking at the black-robed old man and Ning Fan who appeared at the same time. He was puzzled. Situ's eyes flashed as if he had seen through something. He gave Ning Fan a meaningful glance without saying a word. As for Nangong, he was slightly startled. Then, he looked at Ning Fan with admiration and nodded in tacit understanding. Young Master is here to deceive the three divine armies. Interesting. The three divine armies were stunned when they saw Ning Fan and the black-robed old man appearing at the same time. I am the young master of 7 Apricot City, Ning Fan. This senior beside me is Black Devil Ning, the lord of Ning City and also my great-grandfather. Hiss. Young master isn't the lord of Ning City. Someone else is the lord of Ning City. He is the great-grandfather of young master. The three divine armies were confused. Since when did their young master have a great-grandfather? Puff. Cici has become master's great-grandfather. Si Wuxia couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ning Fan pinched her palm and gave her a warning look. That look seemed to say, if you make a sound, you will kill me. Immediately, Si Wuxie no longer dared to laugh. Her palm that was unintentionally held by Ning Fan was emitting a strange electric current, causing her heart to flutter. Greetings, young master. Greetings, Black Devil City Lord. Nan Gong understood and took the lead to greet them. Then, Situ, who had always been a man of few words, also greeted the two of them. As for Yuchi, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that there must be a reason behind it. The three divine armies no longer hesitated and greeted Ning Fan and Black Devil Ning at the same time. Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi also hurriedly greeted Black Devil Ning with a flattering expression. But the strange thing was that Black Devil Ning kept his mouth shut and didn't pay any attention to them. The two of them had no choice but to establish a good relationship with Ning Fan. Didn't they say that Ning Fan's young master is the great-grandson of Black Devil Ning? TSK, he is indeed the great-grandson of Black Devil Ning. He is so young, but he has already reached the intermediate harmonious spirit realm. Incredible. Speaking of which, Black Devil Ning's true cultivation base isn't harmonious spirit realm but late gold core realm. No wonder it was so easy to kill Old Monster Chen and Old Monster Zhu yesterday. He must have concealed his cultivation base. However, this was reasonable. A fourth revolution Dan Master must have a late gold core cultivation base in order to convince others. Deceived, everyone was deceived. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. No matter what, I will continue to deceive them. Chapter 45. On the other side, Ning Fan and Nan Gongyu were having a secret discussion through telepathy, far away from the crowd. Ning Fan told Nan Gong about the training plan of the three divine armies and the changes to the formations. For the first time, Ning Fan began to pay attention to Nan Gong's capability. Commander Nan Gong has great eloquence. With just a few words, you managed to convince Lu Nanzi and Nanyang Zi. Ning Fan admires you. Young master's praise is too much. This subordinate doesn't deserve it. This subordinate is just sharing young master's worries. Nan Gong managed to convince Lu Nanzi with just a few words, which made Ning Fans greatly admire him. The fact that Ning Fan had disguised himself as Black Devil Ning with Si Wuxie had also impressed Nan Gong. Nan Gong, Situ, and Yuchi were all good seedlings in the old monster's eyes. It was only because the old monster's cultivation was crippled that their cultivation was delayed. It was necessary for him to raise the cultivation of the three of them. In the future, these three people would be his helpers. Even the cultivation of the three black demon guards had to be improved. A crazy plan emerged in his mind. He wanted to raise the cultivation base of all the soldiers to the harmonious spirit realm. At that time, 1,400 harmonious spirit experts would be enough to sweep across Yu country. Nan Gong, if I say that I will train you, Situ and Yuchi into void fragmentation experts in the future, and train the three black demon armies into the #1 battle force of the Rain Immortal World, would you believe me? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with an inexplicable smile while looking at Nan Gong. When Nan Gong heard Ning Fan's words, he was startled at first, then he sucked in a breath of cold air. He had never thought that the young lord would have such an ambition. If someone else said this subordinate would only turn a deaf ear to it. But since young master said this, I believe that young master can do it. Master's enemy is very strong. Nan Gong, I need your help. This time, refining pills for all the experts in the state of Yu is an excellent opportunity. We don't need to purchase spirit herbs, they will deliver themselves to us. Oh yes, I discovered that there seems to be a sapling of a type of maple fruit growing in Ning City. Once this fruit matures, it will have a divine effect of refining. Send someone to plant this fruit. Yes. Southern House Battle Guards, Lu Nanzi, Nanyang Zi, you can train and use them as you wish. Nan Gong, I believe in your ability. After tomorrow, I will go to Sinister Sparrow sect and get my hands on the profound Yin Qi as soon as possible. Then, he suddenly raised his head and looked at the horizon with a solemn expression. A moment later, Nangong and the other experts also looked up into the sky. From the south of Ning City, dozens of immortal clouds were flying across the sky. Each of them was at least a 3-mark immortal cloud. The leading immortal cloud was a 4-stripe immortal cloud with a speed comparable to a nascent soul cultivator. 3 black demon armies, get into formation. At Nangong's order, the 3 god legions, who had been training, all stood in formation and looked at the sky in the south with vigilance. Dozens of experts, each of them was above the harmonious spirit realm. All of them were wearing embroidered red robes, flying in the sky like fiery clouds. Righteous sect, Fire Cloud sect. Experts of Fire Cloud sect, why did you come back to my Ning City? Yuqi's mouth was agape as he looked at the front row of experts of Fire Cloud sect. There was a burly man in red armor there. He was also 6 feet tall, had red hair and a red beard, and looked like a god. His magic power seemed to have broken through to the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. Ha! Yuqi, it really is you. The 3 black demon armies are the only ones who can build the 3 demon defense city in a single day. However, I didn't expect that after 40 years, you are still a harmonious spirit cultivator. You are really weak. The burly man in red armor seemed to be familiar with Yuqi. He led the disciples of Fire Cloud sect and landed on the ground. When Yuqi saw this man, his expression was obviously unnatural. He looked a little ashamed and evasive. Who is this man? Ning Fan asked Nangong through telepathy. The elder of Fire Cloud sect, Bu Kuangfen. This man had fought with my 3 black demon armies 40 years ago, but at that time, he was only an intermediate harmonious spirit cultivator. He was defeated by Yuqi once. I didn't expect this man to advance to the intermediate gold core realm in just 40 years. Nangong sighed. For 40 years, he and the others lived in seclusion in 7 Apricot City, which delayed their cultivation. But his opponent had already grown into a senior. Bu Kuangfen, what are you doing in Ning City? Yuqi gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. For the first time in 40 years, his heart was filled with unwillingness. Don't worry. I'm not here to find trouble with you. I'm here to ask for pills from Black Devil Ning. Speaking of which, isn't your 3 black demon armies under Han Yuanji's command? Why is it Black Devil Ning? I'm here to ask for pills. Bu Kuangfen's arrogant eyes were like real flames. They swept across the 3 black demon armies, making their souls feel a burning pain. Bu Kuangfen was slightly startled when he saw Lu Nanzi and Nanyangzi, but he didn't pay too much attention to them. When he saw the black-robed old man in front of them, his eyes shrunk and he gasped. Late Gold Core Realm. I'm afraid this man is Black Devil Ning. This man gives me an extremely dangerous feeling. Even the fake nascent soul aura of the old ancestor isn't as strong as this man. It seems like I can't use force on this man. In an instant, the arrogant Bu Kuangfen slightly bowed towards Black Devil Ning. One should know that there weren't many people in the entire Yu country who could make him bow. Junior Bu Kuangfen of Fire Cloud sect greets Master Ning. I'm under the order of Ancestor Jing Zhuo of Fire Cloud sect to ask for a nascent soul pill. This is just a small gift list to show my respect. I hope Master Ning can concoct the pill. If the pill is successfully concocted, Fire Cloud sect will owe Ning City a favor. Even if the concoction fails, Fire Cloud sect promises that we won't find trouble with Ning City. Bu Kuangfen placed the gift list on the table. At the same time, he waved his hand. The disciples of Fire Cloud sect behind him poured out their storage pouches. In an instant, treasures piled up like a mountain on the ground. 30,000 immortal jades, 10 kilograms of extreme Yin iron, 1 high-grade magical treasure, 50 pieces of purple golden jadeite. Of course, there were also various spiritual herbs sealed in sandalwood boxes. Even so, the fragrance of the herbs still soared to the sky. All the spiritual herbs needed to concoct a 4th revolution pill were at least 1,000 years old. Everyone on the scene had a fiery look on their faces, but no one dared to covet the treasures on the ground. These were the treasures that Fire Cloud's sect offered to Black Devil Ning. No one on the scene dared to offend Fire Cloud's sect, let alone Ning City. The treasures on the ground slightly surprised Ning Fan. He seemed to have underestimated the influence of a fourth revolution pill master. If he wanted to snatch the treasures from the storage pouches, he wouldn't know how many gold core old monsters he had to kill to get all the treasures on the ground. However, Fire Cloud's sect offered so many treasures in exchange for a nascent formation pill. The spiritual herbs inside were enough to concoct thousands of vein-opening pills to improve the cultivation base of the three divine armies. Moreover, the immortal ores inside were enough to turn Ning City into an iron city. As a matter of fact, the value of the treasures on the ground had far exceeded the value of the nascent formation pill. As the saying goes, the rarer something is, the greater its value. Ning Fan had become the only fourth revolution pill master in Yu country. He had the qualifications to make those old monsters who had lived for hundreds and thousands of years compete to befriend him. Of course, the premise was that he mustn't expose his cultivation base. A transaction would only happen between two parties with equal strength. Without strength, one wouldn't be able to intimidate the other party. Si Wuxia, who was impersonating Black Devil Ning, raised his eyelids and slightly frowned. It seemed like the treasures on the ground were just passable. He took the gift list and put it into his sleeve without looking at it. Then, he nodded to Bu Kuangfen, indicating that he agreed to this transaction. Si Wuxia didn't dare to speak, fearing that his identity would be exposed. His every action was taught by Ning Fan in advance. Bu Kuangfen saw the expression and action of Black Devil Ning, which turned into a trace of displeasure. This Black Devil Ning was really arrogant. He had received such a valuable gift from Bu Kuangfen, but he didn't even say a word of courtesy. However, Bu Kuangfen wouldn't fall out with Black Devil Ning, now that he needed help from Ning Fan. He squeezed out a smile. May I ask Grandmaster Ning, how long will it take to concoct the nascent formation pill? 1 year. Ning Fan whispered to Si Wuxia. Si Wuxia understood what Ning Fan meant. She stretched out a finger and waved it in front of Bu Kuangfen. Nascent formation pill was a high-grade fourth revolution pill. With Ning Fan's concoction technique, the concoction process was not only slow, but also had a low success rate. Ning Fan was afraid that it would take him a month to concoct a pill, and he might not even be able to concoct one pill. Moreover, Ning Fan had important business to attend to. He needed to go to Sinister Sparrow's sect. It was impossible for him to spend too much time on concocting pills for others. 1 year. Isn't that a little too long? The corner of Bu Kuangfen's mouth twitched. He had heard that the Fourth Revolution Dan masters of other countries only needed 6 months at most to concoct a nascent formation pill. The reason why Fire Cloud's sect gave such a valuable gift was because they hoped that Black Devil Ning could complete the pill as soon as possible. He didn't expect that Black Devil Ning would give him a year's time. Bu Kuangfen wanted to say something, but Si Wuxia's eyes glinted with cold light. Under this cold gaze, Bu Kuangfen felt a sense of impending death. His facial expression changed dramatically. He took a few steps back with cold sweat dripping down his face. He hastily clasped his fists and apologized to Si Wuxia. Junior misspoke. Since Grandmaster wants to concoct the pill in 1 year, Junior will wait for 1 year. Bu Kuangfen was shocked. This Black Devil Ning had a very sharp gaze, which was much sharper than the old ancestors. This person must have held a high position all year round. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to cultivate such a powerful gaze. He wasn't wrong. Si Wuxia had been the #1 devil lord of Yu country for many years. Although he had lost his memory, his evil nature didn't diminish. Junior will take my leave now. If Grandmaster Ning has the chance, why don't you come to Fire Cloud's sect and have a chat? Bu Kuangfen bowed again. He didn't want to stay in Ning City for a second longer. The impression that Si Wuxia gave him was somewhat terrifying. Just as he was about to turn and leave, a monstrous devil's sneer came from the sky. Humph! Old bastard Jingzhua, you're so arrogant. You want to ask for a nascent formation pill, but you didn't come here personally. I have broken the Great Barrier and come here personally to ask for the pill. In the eastern sky, a black rainbow was treading on the sky. A peak gold core devil aura was crazily engulfing the area. Under this devil aura, the arrogant Bu Kuangfan's mind trembled. He couldn't stand still and his facial expression changed dramatically. Purple Yin, child of extreme Yin gate, you're not dead yet. Humph. I won't die even if you, Jingzhua, die. Ha. So this is the fourth revolution Dan Master, Black Devil Ning? Late gold core, good cultivation base. Just one palm from this old man. A little boy in purple robes let out a cold laugh, revealing his white teeth. He stood in the sky and slapped down with his palm. Magic power surged out and turned into a cold purple blood skeleton that was hundreds of meters tall. It let out a cold roar as it smashed down. Si Wuxia's eyes were cold. When he was about to wave his sleeve to disperse the skeleton, Ning Fan pulled his hand from behind and shook his head. You don't need to do anything. Someone will stop this attack. At the same time, Ning Fan's eyes looked at the clouds in the sky as if he had sensed something. The person in the clouds was slightly surprised and then revealed a gratified smile. Han Yuanji's disciple, you have a good eyesight. You can actually see that I'm hiding here. Above the clouds, a middle-aged man in a green robe with gray hair on his temples laughed and removed the invisibility of the profound jade spirit equipment. At the same time, he pointed at the purple bloody skeleton. A trace of cold chi came out from his fingertip and turned into 100 feet large dark sparrow ice, freezing the skeleton. Purple Yin, child, everyone is here to ask for a nascent formation pill. I can't let you hurt Master Ning. Sinister Sparrow. It's you. The purple-robed child's mouth was overflowing with blood. Apparently, he had suffered a backlash when his skeleton was broken. His eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness and fear. Sinister Sparrow was one of the top 10 experts of Yu country and the master of Sinister Sparrow sect. Purple Yin was no match for this person. Humph. I'm just testing Master Ning's strength. Being able to remain calm under the attack of my purple bloody skeleton, your strength isn't any weaker than mine. While the two of them were bickering, hundreds of rainbows came from all directions along with clear voices. The master of Great Void sect, Zhong Xuanzi, is here to ask for a nascent formation pill. Master Ning, please bestow the pill. The elder of body seizing sect, Yi Kongwen, is here to ask for a nascent formation pill. Master Ning, please bestow the pill. Cold condensation sect, limitless sect, green sun sect. One by one, the experts of the various sects arrived in the sky, all for the sole purpose of requesting a pill from the Ning City Lord. These gold-core old monsters that were rarely seen landed on the ground and looked at Black Devil Ning with great respect. They didn't know that they had misjudged him. There was only one reason why they came. As more and more people came, no one dared to test Black Devil Ning, as they were afraid of offending the others. Previously, Sinister Sparrow stopped Purple Yin Child because he knew the relationship between Ning City and the Old Devil. He wanted to help the disciple of the Old Devil, but it also meant that he wanted to please Black Devil Ning. At this moment, if anyone dared to test Black Devil Ning's strength, he was afraid that countless experts would immediately besiege him in order to please Black Devil Ning. Purple Yin was a good lesson to learn from. This is our gift list. Please bestow the pill, Master Ning. Ning Fan's eyes scanned through all kinds of immortal ores, magical treasures and efficacies. With so many good items, it wouldn't take long for him to rise and rule over Yu country. You are Ning Fan. Not bad, not bad. I will be relieved if I hand Mei Air over to you. I am Sinister Sparrow, a good friend of your master. While Ning Fan was lost in thought, Sinister Sparrow walked towards him and smiled. Nominally speaking, Ning Fan was his son-in-law. This little Ning Fan greets sect master. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. It seemed that he couldn't reject this marriage. Hee, little Fan, I heard that you are the descendant of Black Devil Ning. Amazing. Come, Mayer, why are you still hiding? Go and have a chat with little Fan. You youngsters don't have to stay here. Sinister Sparrow turned his body. Behind him, a blue-clothed girl slowly walked out. She looked at Ning Fan with a rather complicated expression. Let's go for a walk. I have something to tell you. Lan Mei's tone carried a rare trace of pleading. Ning Fan didn't expect that Sinister Sparrow would bring a troublesome woman with him when he came to Ning City. Ning Fan's eyes shifted to Nangong, wanting to ask him for help. However, Nangong gave him a feminine smile, turned his face away and transmitted his voice to him. Young master, why don't you go for a walk with Miss Lan Mei? Don't worry, I'm here. The identity of Black Devil Ning won't be exposed. Ning Fan looked at Ji He and saw her circling around Si Wuxie. She seemed to be very interested in the matter of Si Wuxie pretending to be an old man. Fine, let's go for a walk. But I have to say this first. If you dare to throw a tantrum in front of me, I will turn around and leave immediately. Ning Fan's tone sounded as if he had suffered a great loss. It made Lan Mei frown impatiently. She didn't know how many suitors there were in Yu country. There were even more who wanted to take a walk with her. This Ning Fan was really taking advantage of her. If it wasn't because she had something to ask from Ning Fan, she wouldn't have lowered her status to ask Ning Fan for a walk. The first time she asked Ning Fan for a discussion, Ning Fan only gave her a cold stare and left the auction house without looking back. The second time was when she went to Mo family, but she was chased out of 7 Apricot City by Ning Fan in a fit of anger. This Ning Fan was really overbearing. He never gave her a chance to speak. To be honest, Ning Fan's coldness and overbearingness did move her a little, but that was all. Lan Mei would never like any man in her entire life, including Ning Fan. It wasn't because of discrimination against cultivation. The rumor that Lan Mei was arrogant and looked down on those with low cultivation was just an excuse, a facade. Lan Mei had always been unapproachable to any man who tried to pursue her. Ning Fan, it's impossible for us to be together. The words she said that day actually had a deeper meaning. Unfortunately, Ning Fan was destined not to be able to guess it. Lan Mei followed Ning Fan, gradually leaving the crowd and walking towards the maple forest. She bit her lips and wanted to say something, but there were some words that she couldn't say no matter what. That kind of thing was so embarrassing, how could she say it? Ning Fan, I am actually a stone girl. I can't like men. It's impossible for us to be together. This sentence was hovering in Lan Mei's heart, but she couldn't say it no matter what. However, if she didn't say it now, once Ning Fan arrived at Sinister Sparrow's sect, she was afraid that he would marry her. This matter would be hard to hide anymore, even her father didn't know this secret. Damn it, how could she say it? Why did she have to beg Ning Fan, this man with a paralyzed face? Damn Ning Fan, didn't he know how to ease the awkward atmosphere? Like this, she couldn't say anything. Miss Lan Mei, if you have something to say, just say it. Your face is so red, could it be that you want to relieve yourself? Ning Fan frowned and said indifferently. You are the one who wants to relieve yourself. You are so vulgar. Lan Mei's pretty face blushed with slight anger. She realized that Ning Fan was definitely the man who didn't know how to flirt in this world. Chapter 46. The maple forest was in a circular shape. Lan Mei followed behind Ning Fan, walking in circles in this unromantic maple forest. It wasn't that Ning Fan didn't know how to flirt, but he was too lazy to tease Lan Mei. Lan Mei's mind was full of thoughts. She was afraid that Ning Fan would pester her. She really wanted to break off the marriage with Ning Fan. All of this was because she was a stone girl. Ning Fan has already reached the intermediate harmonious spirit realm. Now, his elder, Black Devil Ning, has become a powerful figure in Yu country. Father seems to be very satisfied with him. How can I break off this marriage? Her eyebrows were like a painting and her appearance was exquisite. However, the cold arrogance between her eyebrows had never disappeared. She didn't even know what a smile was. We have already walked 314 circles. Ning Fan reminded her. And, let's walk a little more. Lan Mei bit her lips. She still didn't know what to say. Should she tell Ning Fan that she was a stone girl and ask him to back off? This method would definitely work. She heard that Ning Fan had taken a woman as his wife and that there was another woman following him. He must be an extremely greedy man. Such a greedy man wouldn't be able to get any happiness from her. Naturally, he wouldn't marry her. However, this matter was related to the most private part of a woman. How could she talk about it? They had already walked 314 circles around the maple forest, but Lan Mei's determination was wavering. Let's talk about something. Why don't you want to marry me? Ning Fan asked casually. He didn't expect that he would hit the target and hit the key point. All of a sudden, Lan Mei's face turned red. She clenched her fists and her expression became evasive. Do you hate me? Ning Fan asked again. No. I don't hate you. Lan Mei shook her head and covered her chest with her hands to hide the uneasiness in her heart. Is that so? I hate you a lot. I don't like arrogant women. Ning Fan didn't realize how irritating his words were. Lan Mei's cheeks puffed up. Her shyness was gone, leaving only anger. She took a step closer to Ning Fan and raised her head. Her face was almost touching Ning Fan's chin. You really don't know how to coax a woman. Lan Mei's temperament was extremely indifferent. She never smiled or got angry at others, which was also considered as a sign of arrogance. However, she found it hard to remain calm in front of Ning Fan because he was too infuriating. Which young master who pursued her wasn't courteous and modest? But this Ning Fan, who was obviously a young man, spoke like a troublemaker with no sense of shame. Yes, he was very similar to old Devil Han. As expected of master and disciple, their personalities were similar. She unconsciously moved her face closer to Ning Fan's, but in the next moment, she realized that her action was too abrupt. Her forehead was only an inch away from Ning Fan's chin. Ning Fan's manly breath rushed to her face, causing her face to turn red. She hurriedly stepped back, distancing herself from him. He tripped over a rock and fell to the ground with a thud. If it was someone else who witnessed this scene, they would have held on to Lan Mei's slender waist before she fell and gave her a grand hug. However, Ning Fan was interested in it. He watched Lan Mei fall and stood there in a daze. So you're quite interesting. This is the first time I've seen a cultivator fall. Today is an eye-opener for me. You're really infuriating. This was Ning Fan. He was so cold to women that he wouldn't even help them up. However, Ning Fan's indifference caused ripples in Lan Mei's heart. Because of her body, she hated men very much. The more a young master pestered her, the more she despised him. However, Ning Fan's cold eyes, cold words, and indifferent eyes could make her feel comfortable. Could it be that she liked to be abused? Pull me. Lan Mei fell to the ground and stretched out her hand to Ning Fan. She felt slightly shy. This was the first time she gave her hand to a man. Why? You, humph. Lan Mei stood up on her own, but her heart rippled again. Sure enough, she felt very comfortable after hearing Ning Fan's cold words. It was an indescribable comfort. If she could marry Ning Fan, perhaps it wouldn't be such a painful thing. Unfortunately, she didn't even have the qualification to be a woman. How could she get married? The shyness in her heart seemed to have lessened. Even if she told Ning Fan her big secret, she wouldn't feel embarrassed. Ning Fan, I can't marry you. I will beg my father to cancel the engagement. I beg you, please agree. Cancel the engagement? It doesn't matter. You can do it if you want. If you don't like me, I might not like you either. Ning Fan sneered and turned to leave. No, it's not that I don't like you. Lan Mei's face blushed. She quickly covered her mouth, bit her lips and pulled Ning Fan back. She didn't think that Ning Fan would agree to cancel the engagement without asking for the reason. This was the best result for her. She could even achieve her goal without exposing her body's flaws. However, she didn't know why she didn't want to hide it from Ning Fan. She was afraid that Ning Fan would misunderstand her and think that she was too arrogant. Ning Fan's prejudice against her was very deep. Actually I'm a stone girl. She immediately closed her eyes as soon as the words left her mouth, fearing that she would see Ning Fan's cold eyes. A stone girl was like a monster to a woman. She couldn't have sex or carry on the family line. She seemed to have no value to a man. Ning Fan would probably look down on her. Lan Mei closed her eyes and smiled bitterly. She let go of Ning Fan's sleeve and heaved a sigh of relief. Alright, I'm done. You can leave now, stone girl. Ning Fan halted his steps and looked at Lan Mei seriously for the first time. She was a very beautiful woman in a blue robe. Her hair was tied up high, but there was a trace of cold arrogance between her eyebrows, as if she never knew how to smile. He didn't like Lan Mei, but he did hate her a little. However, it seemed like the reason why he hated her wasn't valid. This woman didn't seem to be as arrogant as the rumors said. Arrogance seemed to be just a layer of protection for her. Stone girl. No wonder she tried every means possible to cancel the engagement. It turned out to be because of this strange reason. Isn't it funny? Only you know about this. Can you not tell anyone? Lan Mei revealed a sorrowful expression. Why should I tell anyone? Stone girl. Let me examine you and see if I can cure you. My master is indebted to your father. I'm doing this to repay the favor. Having said that, Ning Fan stretched out his palm towards Lan Mei. Lan Mei's face instantly turned crimson. The sorrow in her heart turned into embarrassment and fear. Examine. Ning Fan is such a rascal. What does he want to examine? That place of mine? How could he be so shameless? Does he want to see that place of mine? Should I show him? Bah. What am I thinking about? Don't move. An icy rainbow flashed under Ning Fan's feet. With a speed comparable to a gold core expert, he appeared behind Lan Mei. His left hand held her shoulder and collarbone. Her skin was soft and smooth, while his right hand grabbed her wrist to feel her pulse. Given Ning Fan's medical skills, he didn't need to use his eyes to diagnose Lan Mei. He could feel her pulse and know all the conditions of her illness. Lan Mei had thought too much of Ning Fan. Her jade-like back leaned on Ning Fan's chest. Her heart was trembling. This was the first time in her life that her wrist was held by a man. Moreover, this man didn't know what pity was. His grip was very tight. It was a little painful, but it made Lan Mei's heart go numb. She realized that she liked the pain that Ning Fan brought. Let me go. Lan Mei struggled slightly. Ning Fan knitted his brows and slapped her buttocks with a bit too much force. Lan Mei felt that her buttocks were slapped. It was painful, but her heart felt more comfortable. You dare, hit me, here. Her breathing gradually became rapid. Ning Fan didn't notice any of this. He was only feeling Lan Mei's pulse. His eyes were slightly surprised. Before you slayed the red dragon, did you faint from the pain every time you had your period? Ning Fan muttered. How did you know? Lan Mei's cheeks were as red as blood. Menstruation was a woman's most private matter. Ning Fan was a man. How could he ask about it? Moreover, how did he know so clearly? Every night from midnight, will there be an hour of labor pain? The location should be around here. Ning Fan's fingertip touched the spot below Lan Mei's chest and above her lower abdomen. It was like a dragonfly touching the surface of the water. Lan Mei's body trembled slightly when Ning Fan touched her body. Yes, yes, I see. You aren't born to be a stone girl, but you have an illness. This illness isn't hard to cure, but the medicine is a little rare. Tomorrow, I will go to Sinister Sparrow sect to be my disciple. At that time, I will go to your room and operate on you. Operate? Where will I operate on you? What do you think? Wherever it is blocked, I will operate on it. What a stupid woman. Alright, our stroll ends here. I still have something to do. We will talk about this another day. Ning Fan loosened his grip on Lan Mei, turned into an icy rainbow and flew away. Lan Mei's complexion had turned slightly red after Ning Fan left. Whether it was Ning Fan's cold words, gentle patting or the touch of his fingertip, all of them were terrifying stimulations to Lan Mei. Because of her illness, she had always avoided contact with men. But today, almost all of her secrets were touched by Ning Fan. Moreover, when Ning Fan goes to Sinister Sparrow's sect in the future, he will also operate on her. No, how did things turn out like this? Her heart was filled with shame and resentment. Her chest heaved up and down rapidly. Looking at Ning Fan's back from afar, she couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. What a cold man. Perhaps Ning Fan didn't even feel anything when he touched her body. In his eyes, her smooth skin and smooth bones were nothing more than a pink skeleton. In the future, he wouldn't really treat that place for me, right? Lan Mei's face turned red. She didn't dare to think about it anymore, but in her heart, she scolded Ning Fan again. Shameless. Chapter 47. More than 10 sects and more than 10 nascent soul pills. The weakest sect, Black Devil Ning, promised to deliver the pills within 10 years. In order to obtain the pills first, those powerful sects fought each other. However, all of this had nothing to do with Ning Fan. Within 3 days in Yu country, Black Devil Ning had risen to fame. However, almost no one knew that he was Ning Fan. Under the moonlight, Ning Fan sat quietly on a blue stone in the maple forest outside the city. His figure looked a little desolate. Damn, Nirvana shatter in 100 years, it's really hard. Was a 10-year Jindan possible? Some people could not even reach the golden core stage in 100 years. It was said that when one formed a golden core, they would have to face a demonic tribulation. It was extremely dangerous and time-consuming. Was it possible to reach the nascent soul stage in 20 years? The forgotten old monsters of the Yu Kingdom had cultivated for thousands of years but still hadn't reached the nascent soul stage. Forming the nascent soul was even more difficult. Divine Transformation Realm, Void Refinement Realm, Void Fragmentation Realm. All of the Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters in the Rain world had cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Time, I need time, Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. His shackles were increasing. 100 years later, Moksha's sovereign would come and destroy all his shackles. Moksha's sovereign was one of the top 10 experts in the 9 worlds. Even the Rain deity emperor did not dare to face him head-on. The storage pouch on his waist was filled to the brim with all sorts of spirit herbs. They were all gifts from the various sections. He wore a black bracelet on his left wrist. It was the cauldron ring, and inside it was an ancient coffin and a female corpse. The cauldron ring was truly mysterious. There was a space within it, but it was made up of thousands of independent spaces. Each space was as big as Sifan Palace. The space here was filled with red mist, and it was specially made for the cauldron women. When placed in the red mist space, the woman would be hypnotized by the red mist and fall into a deep sleep. The red mist seemed to be able to gradually increase the cultivation of the cauldron woman, although the speed was extremely slow. This cauldron ring didn't look amazing, but in terms of mysteriousness, there weren't many things in the Rain celestial realm that could compare. 100 years. No matter what, I want to reach the Void Fragmentation realm. While Ning Fan was talking to himself, the yin-yang locket in his dantian transmitted the voice of a woman that he hadn't heard for a long time. Hehe, Lang Jun needs to break through to the void fragmentation realm in 100 years. This is not enough time. Sigh, I've only slept for a short while, and Lang Jun seems to have gotten into big trouble again. Without a doubt, the one who spoke was the mysterious woman trapped in the yin-yang locket. Are you awake? Ning Fan's tone was slightly gentle. This woman had helped him several times, so he didn't have any hostility towards her. Yes. It would take at least 10,000 years to break through to the void fragmentation realm. Even in the Four Heavens immortal world, this was something that could not be changed. However, in the Four Heavens immortal world, there is a method that can slow down the flow of time. Oh. There is such a method in the memories of ancient chaos. Ning Fan raised his eyebrows. If he could slow down the flow of time, could he turn 100 years into 10,000 years? Such a heaven-defying divine ability was not mentioned in the memories of the ancient chaos. In ancient chaos memories, there was only one sentence related to time. Time means nothing to a true immortal, so this sentence was a scam. Ning Fan didn't know if time was meaningful to true immortals, but it was meaningful to him. He lacked time. Big Sister has some grudges with an ancient force. That force is called Lost World Palace. It is also an ancient inheritance above the Four Heavens. Its influence is like the godly void pavilion, spreading across the 9 great immortal worlds. In the Rain immortal world, there are also many branches of the Lost World Palace. Every branch hall had a Lost World pagoda built within it. The one in the Rain immortal world should be the Silver Tower, which only has 7 floors. In the first floor, the flow of time is half of that of the outside world. The second floor, 1/4. The third floor, 1/8. The fourth floor, 1/16. The seventh floor, 128. The mysterious woman's voice stopped abruptly. Ning Fan's face was filled with surprise. He didn't think that there would be such a mysterious inheritance that could reverse time. If he could enter the Lost World Tower, to cultivate and enter the 7th floor, 1 year of cultivation would be equivalent to 128 years of hard work. 100 years was equivalent to 10,000 years. How can I enter the Lost World Tower? This tower is so mysterious. I guess one would have to pay an extremely high price to enter it. Ning Fan held his chin and pondered. Hehe, Lang Jun is really smart. The Lost World Palace inherited the ancient world, Grand Tao, which is good at reversing time. The reason why they opened the Lost World Tower is naturally to make money. The price is so high that experts below the nascent soul realm can't afford it. However, the Lost World Palace seems to favor pill refinement masters very much. With your 4th revolution pill refinement technique, if you can pass the pill refinement evaluation of the Lost World Palace, I think you will get a great discount when you enter the tower. After the mysterious woman finished speaking, she yawned lazily as if she was sleepy again. Big Sister has helped you once again. You must remember Big Sister's kindness. In the future, save Big Sister. I will go back to sleep for a while. You are sleeping again. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. I can't help it. The profound Yin world is a barren land. If I don't sleep, I will feel very lonely. You have been trapped here for tens of thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands of years. I can't remember, it's been too long. I am going to sleep. After a while, the mysterious woman's sweet murmurs could be heard. Ning Fan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. The moonlight above his head had dimmed. He stood up and his feet turned into an icy rainbow. Like a meteor piercing through the night sky, he entered Ning City and returned to Jihe's house. Inside the house, Jihe and Si Wuxie were barefooted, each holding a pillow and sleeping on the bed. They even forgot to cover themselves with a thin blanket. They seemed to be chatting happily about something. Ning Fan sighed slightly. Tomorrow, he would go to Sinister Sparrow's sect, but he didn't intend to bring Jihe or Si Wuxie along. Ning City seemed to be prosperous, but in fact, it was still full of dangers. It was being watched by countless old monsters. Ning Fan wouldn't be at ease without Si Wuxie. As for Jihe, Ning Fan didn't intend to bring her to Sinister Sparrow's sect. Sinister Sparrow's sect was, after all, an evil sect with crooks mixed in with the honest folks. Ning Fan would be busy with cultivation and wouldn't have the time to take care of Jihe. If Jihe was targeted by someone, it would be his lifelong regret. Jihe must be very lonely. Now that Si Wuxie had erased her memory and was as pure as Jihe, Jihe would have her first friend in her life. Although Jihe was naturally charming, her heart wasn't suitable for evil cultivation. She wasn't suitable to be tainted by the bloody light of the cultivation path. I wish for you to live a peaceful and joyful life, innocent and pure. Ning Fan smiled and covered Jihe with a thin blanket. After a slight hesitation, he also covered Si Wuxie with a blanket. He looked at Jihe with nostalgia, turned around, pushed the door open, and left under the cover of the night. The moment he left, Jihe and Si Wuxie opened their eyes at the same time. Jihe's eyes were full of shyness and her face was red. She naturally heard Ning Fan's casual confession. As for Si Wuxie, she was pretending to be asleep. After hearing Ning Fan's words, her pure eyes were full of dissatisfaction and her cheeks were puffed up. Little sister Jihe, why is Master so good to you but so cold to me? It's not fair. I don't know. Is it because you haven't slept with Brother Fan? Jihe rested her cheek on her hand and was also puzzled. Slept with? What is slept with? Si Wuxie didn't understand. It's, I can't say it. Stingy, Cici also wants to sleep with Master, but what exactly is sleeping with Master? It seems like there is some rejection. After leaving Ning City, Ning Fan turned into an icy rainbow and flew in the night. His figure looked a little lonely. Under the boundless moonlight, there was a cold young man. No one knew that this young man was Black Devil Ning, who could stomp his feet and shake the whole Yu country. No one knew that this young man was the culprit who single-handedly annihilated the #1 evil sect in Yu country. No one knew that this young man was the one who tricked Moksha Emperor and injured him. No one knew that it was better. Devils must be good at deceiving others. After flying for a few hundred miles in the night, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He felt a trace of uneasiness. As he flew, he pinched his fingers together and activated the divination art. Ancient Chaos Great Emperor had a wide range of knowledge and was quite proficient in the Tao of divination. As for this divination technique, it was able to vaguely predict some things in the future. Of course, this technique could only be used by cultivators at least at Harmonious Spirit Realm. Ning Fan was already qualified to use it. Ning Fan performed the divination technique and immediately understood why he felt a trace of uneasiness in his heart. After casting the divination technique, a picture appeared in front of his eyes. In the picture, he was standing in the sky. More than 10 gold core and Harmonious Spirit experts were blocking his path, catching him by surprise. Extreme Een Gate wants to catch me. So that's how it is. That purple Een Devil child hasn't restrained its intention yet. Ning Fan gently released his spirit sense and vaguely sensed that there were more than 10 subtle air-piercing sounds behind him. Someone was really following him. Sure enough, Extreme Een Gate wanted to sneak attack him. Ning Fan's thoughts raced and instantly understood the motive of Extreme Een Gate. The strength of Black Devil Ning had frightened Extreme Een Gate. Therefore, Extreme Een Gate decided to target Black Devil Ning himself. They wanted to threaten Black Devil Ning by capturing him. Humph. Purple Een Devil Child, what a vicious scheme. Purple Een Devil Child didn't come. He probably felt that it was too troublesome for a peak gold core expert like him to catch a Harmonious Spirit Jr. Ning Fan sneered. As long as Purple Een didn't come, he wouldn't be afraid of the people of Extreme Een Gate. Among the chi behind him, there were 2 strong ones and 15 weak ones. They should be 2 early gold core experts and 15 Harmonious Spirit experts. Extreme Gate was really giving him face by sending so many experts to capture him. Unfortunately, all of them would die in Ning Fan's hands today. There was a barren mountain in front of him. It was the best place to capture someone. Presumably, the people of Extreme Gate would make their move there. There might even be people of Extreme Gate lying in ambush ahead. Ning Fan's eyes glinted with cold light. If that was the case, he would catch Extreme Gate off guard. In the night sky, Ning Fan stopped abruptly. This action puzzled the experts of Extreme Gate. Sister, why isn't he moving anymore? In another 10 miles, we will reach Senior Brother Ji-Mo's ambush. Did he notice us? An early-stage gold core female cultivator said to the other female cultivator with a seductive voice. No way. How could a mere harmonious spirit expert discover our invisibility technique? Another gold core female cultivator said with a cold voice. As soon as her voice faded, Ning Fan suddenly turned around and sneered at the people of Extreme Gate. Under the moonlight, his sharp eyes carried the killing intent of an immortal emperor. The 17 experts of Extreme Gate were shaken and their expressions changed dramatically. All 17 of them were female cultivators. Extreme Gate has really given me a big gift. Cauldron Ring, there's something to store it now. Ning Fan stepped on an icy rainbow, casting the escaping light that was comparable to a gold core expert. At the same time, a green light flashed on his hair band and his body became invisible. The two gold core female cultivators' expressions changed at the same time. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.